Welcome back to ComixCore. This is part 3 of Naruto Dark Revenge, the time travel theory. If you missed part 2, check the playlist first. Now let's see if Naruto can stop Obito's plan. Let's dive in. Outside the village gates, Naruto and Conan stood their ground as Obito materialized before them. The masked man's intent was lethal. "Don't bother running inside to play hero," Obito threatened. "Try to interfere, and I'll turn the hidden leaf into a pile of ash and rubble before you can blink." Naruto offered a thin, dangerous smile. "You always were one to overthink, Obito Uchiha. But these eyes, they were never yours to begin with." The mention of his true name sent a jolt of shock through Obito, cold sweat forming behind his mask. "How do you know that name?" he roared. But Naruto offered no explanation. The Great War had begun. Naruto instantly manifested 10 shadow clones, swarming Obito with a barrage of Rasengans. He knew the secret. To touch Obito, he had to force him to remain intangible until he found the opening. Obito moved with predatory grace, dismantling the clones one by one. He phased through a strike and materialized behind Naruto for a killing blow. But Naruto, empowered by Sage Mode, sensed the displacement. Without even turning, he caught Obito's strike mid-air. Naruto slammed his palm into the ground, summoning jutsu. Multiple giant beasts erupted from clouds of smoke. Obito gritted his teeth. With the shared vision of the Rinnegan and the sensory range of Sage Mode, a sneak attack was officially impossible. Obito ignited a vortex with his right eye, combining it with a massive torrent of fire. Uchiha Blast Wave Wild Dance. Naruto watched the flames approach. That technique, it truly brings back memories. Naruto countered with a toad oil flame bullet. The collision of the two infernos was titanic, but Naruto's oil-enhanced fire began to suppress Obito's flames. Sensing the disadvantage, Obito escalated. A black-tailed beast bomb erupted from the Kamui vortex, hurtling toward Naruto with world-ending force. Naruto reached out, activating the Preta path to absorb the blast, but Obito was cunning. He detonated the bomb manually just before it hit Naruto's palm. The resulting explosion was cataclysmic, shaking the entire forest to its roots. Conan's voice cut through the chaos. "Naruto!" From within the wall of black smoke, a brilliant violet light flickered. Naruto emerged, shrouded in his purple lightning armor. The cloak had shielded him from the brunt of the impact, but his skin was scorched, and deep wounds bled through the lightning. Naruto had survived, but the battle was only just beginning. Naruto now realized the grim truth. Obito was using his Kamui dimension to house the captured killer bee, controlling the Eight Tails power through his ocular prowess. Obito offered a cold compliment to Naruto's intellect, but his tone remained flat. "Knowing my secrets won't change the inevitable conclusion of this war." With those words, Obito unleashed another devastating tailed beast bomb. Naruto reacted with godlike speed, using Flying Reijin to teleport the blast to a remote location near the Rain Village before flashing back to the battlefield in the blink of an eye. But Obito had anticipated the move. The moment Naruto materialized, Obito slammed his palms into the ground. "Uchiha Flame Formation!" The barrier ignited instantly. Naruto felt the immediate severed connection to his Flying Reijin marks, located outside the perimeter. By combining Kamui with this impenetrable barrier, Obito had trapped Naruto in a lethal cage. Seizing the moment, Obito launched 4 tailed beast bombs simultaneously. The resulting inferno filled every cubic inch of the formation. At the epicenter of the blast, Naruto channeled every ounce of his Rinnegan's power and roared, "Almighty push!" The massive gravitational shockwave collided with the 4-way explosion, pushing the concentrated fire backward with such immense pressure that even Obito's absolute barrier shattered into 1,000 pieces. Naruto's Shinra Tensei was now on a cooldown, but he noted that Obito had also exhausted his immediate supply of tailed beast bombs. The field was leveled, heavy iron chains slid from Obito's sleeves. He knew that if he could land even a single touch on Naruto, he could drag him into the Kamui dimension and end the conflict forever. Naruto shrouded his body in the purple lightning armor, a Rasengan swirling in his palm. The two warriors lunged at each other. Just before the collision, Naruto hurled a kunai that phased straight through Obito's mask. The scene was a haunting mirror of the legendary battle between the 4th Hokage and the Masked Man, but Obito would not be fooled twice. He spun, attempting to snatch the kunai out of the air behind him. Breaking the pattern, Naruto didn't use the level 2 teleport. Instead, he drove his Rasengan directly into Obito's chest, but Obito's body remained intangible, and the Rasengan passed harmlessly through his torso. In that same heartbeat, Obito swung his chains, aiming to bind Naruto's waist. As Obito's hand reached for Naruto's back, Naruto teleported with lightning speed to a kunai lying several meters away. The exchange was a stalemate. Obito's strength and strategy had evolved significantly since his night in the Hidden Leaf years ago, while Naruto's reaction speed had finally ascended to match the legendary Yellow Flash. Naruto gritted his teeth, biting down on a flying Raijin kunai as he manifested a shadow clone. Both the original and the clone swarmed Obito from opposite flanks, Rasengans ready to strike. But Obito's Sharingan was absolute. He tracked the chakra flow, identifying the real Naruto instantly. In the final blurred microsecond of the clash, Obito's hand lunged directly for the original Naruto's throat. Obito's Kamui vortex began to spiral with lethal intent. Just as his hand was about to make contact with Naruto's body, the original Naruto vanished in a sudden burst of white smoke. Obito's eyes widened behind his mask. He had been played. In that final millisecond, Naruto had executed the Flying Raijin, mutually swapping jutsu. It was a high-level variant of the teleportation technique that functioned much like Sasuke's future Aminote Jikara, swapping the positions of the caster and the clone in the blink of an eye. Now, the true Naruto materialized in midair, driving a massive Rasengan directly into Obito's exposed flank. For a fleeting moment, it looked as if the shadows of Minato Namikaze and Kurama stood behind him. The Rasengan detonated, sending Obito skidding violently across the terrain. Naruto hadn't just landed a blow. He had placed a permanent Flying Raijin seal on Obito's body upon contact. Furthermore, he had covertly extracted a blood sample from the masked man, sending it back to Orochimaru's lab via a white snake hidden in his sleeve. Obito stood up, clutching his side as he created distance. I didn't expect your mastery of the Flying Raijin to surpass even Minato's. I made a grave error in underestimating you. Naruto stood motionless, his expression cold. Suddenly, the swirling-faced Zetsu Guru appeared to reinforce Obito, while Conan descended on paper wings to flank Naruto. Naruto's gaze locked onto the strange Zetsu. He could sense a terrifying latent power dwelling within the creature. Without warning, the Zetsu clasped its hands together, wood-style. Deep forest bloom, giant, gnarled trees erupted from the earth, and within seconds, massive flowers began to blossom. A cloud of toxic, paralyzing pollen flooded the air. Naruto immediately signaled Conan to hold her breath. With his almighty push still on cooldown, a standard wind-style jutsu wouldn't be enough to clear the massive volume of poison. An idea struck him. Using the Rinnegan, he summoned Baku, empowered by Naruto's chakra. Baku's suction was amplified tenfold, like a titanic vacuum. The beast inhaled the entire cloud of toxic pollen before vanishing in a cloud of smoke. The poison was gone, but the sentient wooden forest continued to surge toward them. Naruto manifested two shadow clones. The original Naruto exhaled a torrent of toad oil, while his clones combined fire and wind style to unleash the devastating Sage Art Gomen. A tidal wave of incinerating oil and flame roared forward, reducing the entire forest to white ash in seconds. Obito stood frozen in disbelief. He realized then that Naruto's prowess was now rivaling that of Madara Uchiha himself. In a final, desperate move, the Zetsu activated its ultimate trump card, wood style, veritable 1,000 armed Kanan. A colossal statue with 1,000 arms tore through the earth, towering over the battlefield. The statue immediately began firing destructive blasts of all 5 elements: fire, water, earth, wind, and lightning simultaneously. Naruto responded instantly, creating 4 clones. Each clone mastered a different element, launching the 5-style Great Combo Jutsu. The resulting explosions canceled each other out in a blinding display of power. Conan watched, breathless. Naruto, how can you possibly know this many jutsu? Naruto offered a cold, proud smile. During my tenure as Hokage, I mastered nearly every jutsu in existence, barring only the bloodline-specific Keki Genkai. However, the true terror of the 1,000-armed statue before him wasn't its elemental blasts. It was its ultimate physical assault. Summit Enlightenment. From the massive halo behind the statue, hundreds of wooden arms detached, darkening the sky as they plummeted toward Naruto like a rain of meteors. Naruto narrowed his eyes and instantly triggered the multi-shadow clone jutsu. Thousands of his clones manifested, each wielding an ultra-big ball Rasengan, leaping upward to meet the wooden onslaught head-on. The battlefield became a chaotic symphony of splintering wood and exploding clones. Naruto successfully neutralized the assault, but the cost was staggering. The statue's arms were reduced to kindling, but every single one of Naruto's clones had vanished, and his sage chakra was completely depleted. He stood on the scorched earth, gasping for breath. Seizing the moment, the main torso of the statue detached from its halo and surged toward the weakened Naruto. Conan stepped forward, acting as his shield. She unleashed her ultimate hidden technique, the paper god person jutsu. Millions of explosive tags erupted from the ground, spiraling upward and wrapping around the statue from its feet to its head. A split second later, a chain reaction of thousands of explosions shook the very heaven. Naruto watched in disbelief. "Conan, what was that?" She replied calmly. "I merely used a fraction of the 600 billion explosive tags stored in Omegakure's treasury." Naruto broke into a cold sweat. Note to self, never make Konan Nichan angry, or she'll turn me into confetti. The colossal statue was reduced to a mountain of ash. Sensing Naruto was no longer in sage mode, Obito moved to strike. The Kamui vortex began to swirl near Naruto's blind spot, but at that exact moment, 10 kilometers away in a hidden laboratory, Orochimaru handed Obito's blood sample to Hidan. The moment Hidan consumed the blood, his skin turned the charcoal black and bone white of the Jashin ritual. With a manic laugh, Hidan plunged a metal stake directly into his own chest. Suddenly, Obito's body convulsed. He collapsed mid-motion, coughing up blood as an agonizing phantom pain tore through his torso. What is this? He wheezed, clutching his chest. Naruto looked down at him with ice in his eyes. "Your organization used this very technique to take the life of a mentor I deeply respected, Asuma Sensei. Today, I am returning that pain to you. But don't worry, I told Hidan to avoid your heart for now." This was the opening Naruto needed. He activated Kotoa Matsukami with his right eye. Refusing to yield, Obito shattered the left side of his mask, revealing his second Sharingan. A blinding light erupted as the two ocular powers clashed. Naruto unleashed the ultimate genjutsu, while Obito sacrificed his eye to trigger Izanagi. The Izanagi rewrote reality, turning the mental invasion of Kotoa Matsukami into a mere dream, allowing Obito to survive. However, the physical damage Hidan had inflicted before the Izanagi was activated remained. Naruto looked at the wounded Uchiha and gave a final warning. "You have exactly 10 minutes of reality warping left before that eye goes blind forever. I suggest you retreat and tend to your wounds." Obito finally realized the terrifying truth. Naruto had anticipated every single move, right down to the activation of Izanagi. Coughing up blood, he wheezed, "Why? If you knew, why didn't you have Hidan strike my heart directly? You could have ended me right here." Naruto locked eyes with him, his expression unreadable. "Because I see you as a rival, not an enemy. In the future that is coming, we may have to stand together against the true threats to this world." Obito fell silent for a moment, contemplating the words before replying bitterly, "This rotten, broken world is my only enemy. You won today, but do not expect me to retreat next time." With that, he spiraled into the Kamui vortex alongside Guru. As he faded, Naruto's lips moved in a silent warning, "Beware of Black Zetsu." Obito's eyes widened in shock just before he vanished completely. Standing nearby, Conan let out a breath of relief. She made a mental note. "So, Obito's Izanagi lasts for 10 minutes. Next time, 600 billion won't cut it. I need at least 1 trillion explosive tags." Meanwhile, inside the hidden leaf, the tides of war were shifting. As news of Obito's retreat spread, the White Zetsu army began a tactical withdrawal. The village had sustained heavy damage. Shikaku Nara, the head strategist, commanded the forces not to pursue the fleeing enemy, fearing a trap that could lead to even greater casualties. However, the true devastation was concentrated at the heart of the village. Sasuke Uchiha was wreaking havoc with his Susanoo. He fired a spectral arrow with pinpoint accuracy at Sai, who was circling above on his Inkbird. Sai began to plummet from the sky, but Kakashi intercepted him just in time. Kakashi's face was grim. "Sasuke, have you truly fallen so far that you would murder your former comrades?" Sasuke's eyes were devoid of emotion. He notched another arrow, aiming directly at Kakashi. Suddenly, dozens of members of the Nara clan, led by Shikamaru, activated a massive, coordinated shadow possession jutsu. Countless shadows surged forward, anchoring themselves to the Susanoo's shadow and freezing its movements. The rest of the village shinobi launched a combined elemental barrage, but as the smoke cleared, the Susanoo's armor remained unscratched. Shikamaru analyzed the situation instantly. "The area beneath the Susanoo's feet is the weak point. Use Earth style from underground." But Sasuke was faster. His Susanoo evolved into its humanoid form. While its defensive density decreased slightly, its mobility skyrocketed, and the vulnerability at its feet vanished. Sasuke drew his bow once more, aiming for Shikamaru. Just as the arrow was released, Gaara's sand shield manifested to block the strike. In that same heartbeat, Might Guy having opened the seventh gate of wonder, appeared behind Sasuke. Guy unleashed the daytime tiger. The concentrated air pressure ripped through the Susanu's ethereal armor. Sasuke coughed, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. Guy-sensei. He briefly remembered the legendary clash between Rock Lee and Gaara. He thought, so Lee's lineage of techniques has reached this level? Fine, I was saving this for Naruto, but I'll let you all witness it first. Sasuke's eyes were consumed by a manic frenzy. Let us call this the baptism of the hidden leaf, he roared. In a blinding surge of chakra, his Susanoo stabilized into its most majestic and terrifying form. The perfect Susanoo. Desperate to stop the madness, Sakura sprinted toward the towering titan, risking her life to beg him to stop. But Sasuke was cold and unreachable. He raised the Susanoo's colossal foot to crush her without a second thought. At the final microsecond, Kakashi flickered in and pulled her to safety. Kakashi's expression turned to stone. As the captain of Team 7, it is time for me to end this myself. He signaled Choji to hurl him toward the Susanoo's head. Soaring through the air, a lethal lightning blade ignited in Kakashi's palm. Inside the Susanoo's gem, Karin warned him, Sasuke, Kakashi is coming straight for us. Sasuke let out a mocking laugh. Does he truly believe that pathetic technique can pierce my ultimate defense? Has the copy ninja finally lost his mind? But as Kakashi closed the distance, his left eye's Kamui swirled into life. A space-time rift tore through the Susanoo's forehead armor. Sasuke's heart skipped a beat. He was exposed. Kakashi's lightning blade lunged toward Sasuke's chest. In a desperate move, Karin reached out to shield him, but Sasuke showed no mercy. He grabbed Karin and thrust her forward as a human shield. The lightning blade tore through Karin's chest. As Kakashi fell away from the Susanoo, his eyes were filled with profound grief for what his student had become. But the greatest pain was Karin's. She was willing to die for Sasuke, but to be used as a mere discardable tool broke her spirit. As her world faded into darkness, her love for Sasuke died alongside her heartbeat. The Susanoo's armor reformed instantly. Sasuke notched an arrow and aimed it at the grounded, exhausted Kakashi. Just then, Might Guy, still maintaining the seventh gate, intercepted the strike with another daytime tiger. Standing before the bloodied Kakashi, Guy spoke with grim resolve. If we leave him like this, the village is doomed. My seventh gate is no longer enough. There is only one way left, the eighth gate of death. Kakashi's eyes widened in horror, but Guy knew that every second of hesitation cost lives. Just as Guy raised his thumb to strike his chest and open the final gate, a single kunai thudded into the ground at their feet. Every gaze shifted toward the horizon. Naruto-kun. Hinata was the first to see him, standing tall amidst the swirling winds. Sasuke locked onto his rival. So, you've finally arrived. He wasted no time, firing an Amaterasu-infused arrow directly at Naruto. Naruto countered by launching a massive Rasen Shuriken. The collision in the sky created a titanic vortex of wind and black flames, casting a dark shadow over the leaf. Sasuke realized that if Naruto was here, Obito had been defeated. His vengeance would never be complete until Naruto was dealt with. His Susanoo unfurled its wings, taking to the skies as he surged toward the Valley of the End. Naruto was already there, standing atop the statue of Hashirama, waiting for him. At the Valley of the End, Naruto and Sasuke stood across from each other, the weight of their shared history hanging heavy in the air. Suddenly, Naruto pulled a black blindfold from his pocket and tied it securely over his eyes. He couldn't risk accidentally triggering the Kotoa Matsukami hidden inside him by making eye contact with Sasuke. Sasuke took this as a supreme insult. Consumed by rage, he wove signs with blurred speed and unleashed a great fireball jutsu. Naruto countered with the exact same technique. The two infernos collided, but Naruto's flame slowly began to overwhelm Sasuke's. Gritting his teeth, Sasuke ignited Amaterasu, using the black flames to incinerate Naruto's fire. The battle shifted into a brutal exchange of taijutsu. As the seconds ticked by, Sasuke's confidence began to crumble. The raw power behind Naruto's strikes was beyond anything he had ever faced. Every collision left Sasuke's limbs numb and trembling. While Naruto remained eerily calm and fluid, Sasuke struggled to process the change. How did he become this strong in just a few days? And how is he tracking my every movement while blindfolded? As if reading his thoughts, Naruto spoke. Sasuke, do you understand the nature of senjutsu? Naruto threw a punch through the air. Though his fist didn't make physical contact, an invisible strike of nature energy slammed into Sasuke's face, sending him reeling. This is why I don't need my eyes to see you. Sasuke attempted a feint, sending a clone forward while he materialized behind Naruto. He unsheathed his Kusanagi blade, coating it in a crackling Chidori, and lunged. But Naruto didn't even turn. He caught the lethal blade with his bare hand, protected by his lightning chakra mode. Sasuke's eyes widened in horror. He immediately formed a Chidori in his left hand and drove it toward Naruto's chest, but his most powerful lightning strike couldn't even scratch Naruto's purple lightning armor. Naruto retaliated with a crushing blow that sent Sasuke hurtling backward, gasping for air. Driven to the brink of insanity, Sasuke launched fireballs into the atmosphere, forcing the clouds to churn and the heavens to thunder. Standing atop the cliff, he unleashed his ultimate lightning strike. Kirin, a cataclysmic bolt of lightning, leveled the valley floor. But Naruto had seen this technique countless times in the future. He used Flying Raijin to teleport away a split second before impact. Left with no other choice, Sasuke activated his perfect Susanoo. Without the full power of the Nine Tails, this was Naruto's most difficult challenge yet. He immediately summoned his army of powerful beasts, but the Susanoo's massive blade cleaved through them in a single sweep. Sasuke taunted him. "Is this all you have? Hiding behind these animals?" At that exact moment, Naruto felt the power of the Deva Path return to full strength. He pressed his palms together. Chibaku Tensei! A black sphere of concentrated gravity soared into the sky. The valley floor began to disintegrate, stones and boulders rushing toward the core. Even Sasuke's perfect Susanoo was caught in the irresistible pull. Within moments, a new moon hung in the sky, with Sasuke imprisoned at its center. Naruto looked up at the massive sphere and whispered, "Maybe now you'll finally find some peace." But cracks began to spiderweb across the surface of the floating prison. With a violent explosion, the stone moon shattered. Sasuke's Susanoo emerged from the debris, his eyes burning with a murderous bloodlust. He let out a primal roar. "Use everything you have, Naruto! Today only one of us leaves this valley alive." Sasuke's roar echoed through the valley. "I will grind every one of your tricks into the dust." Naruto realized that standard tier attacks would no longer suffice. He ignited Purple Lightning Chakra Mode, Stage 2. The violet electrical flares erupting from his body were so intense, they began to scorch the Susanoo's massive hands upon contact. Utilizing the flight capabilities of the Deva Path, Naruto surged into the sky, leveling himself with the face of the perfect Susanoo. Itachi had once said, "Every jutsu has a weakness," and the weakness of the perfect Susanoo was the localized point where the user was seated. Naruto moved toward the Susanoo's forehead at godlike speed. He manifested a massive Rasengan and flooded it with an overwhelming surge of purple lightning. Through a masterclass of shape and nature transformation, the sphere elongated into a 4-foot purple thunder spiral sword. It was Naruto's most lethal taijutsu strike to date. Sensing the impending doom, Sasuke shrouded his core in a wall of Kagutsuchi black flames to keep Naruto at bay. But Naruto was indifferent to his own survival. He tore through the barrier of incinerating black fire, plunged into the Susanoo's gem, and seized Sasuke by the throat. The ethereal armor shattered, and Naruto dragged Sasuke out into the open air. Simultaneously, he activated the Prita Path, absorbing both the Amaterasu clinging to his skin and Sasuke's remaining chakra in one go. The Great War of the Final Valley ended with Sasuke's total defeat. Naruto's vision had now expanded into something monumental. To defeat the ultimate future threat, Otsutsuki Shibai, he was considering the reanimation of the previous Hokage. And even Madara Uchiha, a white Zetsu, emerged from the ground to retrieve the unconscious Sasuke. Naruto did not interfere. Conan asked in bewilderment, "Naruto, why didn't you show him the memories of the future? Perhaps he would have changed his path." Naruto replied with a haunting calm, "Showing him anything now would be futile. He would have dismissed it as a genjutsu of my making. Besides, Sasuke's hatred is the very thing that will push him to unlock his true potential quickly." Naruto spoke like a seasoned strategist. He had a list: Sasuke, Obito, the former Hokage, Madara, Kabuto, and even Kaguya Otsutsuki. He intended to turn them all into his allies. Conan was stunned. But Kaguya is an Otsutsuki herself. Naruto argued that Kaguya had lived among humans and that a fragment of maternal instinct still dwelt within her. In Naruto's master plan, he himself would become the 10 Tails Jinchuriki, knowing that power was mandatory to face the gods. Conan felt a surge of pride knowing Naruto trusted her with such secrets. Naruto predicted that instead of attacking the leaf again, Sasuke's next target would be Danzo. Meanwhile, at Obito's hideout, the masked man had healed his wounds. He immediately departed for the hidden leaf to reclaim his left eye from Kakashi. Behind the copy ninja, a dark Kamui vortex began to spiral. Kakashi's reflexes were peerless. He spun instantly, driving a lightning blade toward the center of the rift. Kakashi's lightning blade passed harmlessly through the masked man's body. Kakashi instantly leaped back, putting distance between them, and pushed up his headband to activate his Sharingan for a Kamui counterstrike, but the intruder stopped him cold. "Kakashi, that technique will have no effect on me." With those words, Obito reached up and pulled away his mask, revealing his scarred, familiar face. The ground seemed to vanish beneath Kakashi's feet, It felt as though the very life was being drained from his body. He stood paralyzed, frozen by the sight of the friend he thought had died years ago. Seizing the momentary shock, Obito lunged forward with blinding speed and ripped the Sharingan from Kakashi's left eye socket. Kakashi didn't even feel the loss of his eye. His entire frame was trembling. In a broken, hollow voice, he asked, "Obito, if you were alive all this time, why didn't you ever come back to me?" Obito turned his back on Kakashi, his voice devoid of warmth. "This world is a lie. You couldn't save Rin, and Minato-sensei arrived too late. Nothing in this reality is real anymore, not even me. On the day I give this world a new dream filled with hope, we shall meet again. There, not only Minato-sensei will be waiting, but Rin as well." With that, Obito spiraled into the Kamui vortex, leaving a shattered Kakashi alone in the shadows. Elsewhere, Naruto's prediction proved flawless. Having regained his strength, Sasuke was heading straight for the land of rice, targeting Kabuto's secret laboratory. There, thanks to Kabuto's twisted experiments, Danzo had evolved into a true monster. His body was now embedded with 200 Sharingan eyes, much like the biological anomaly Shin Uchiha. In place of Shisui's eye, Danzo had transplanted the eye of Kagami Uchiha into his right socket. The moment Sasuke breached the perimeter, Kabuto's white snakes alerted their master. Danzo prepared for war. Kabuto laughed like a maniac. He relished the thought of Sasuke's defeat, imagining the young Uchiha's body as his next grand specimen. Naruto and Conan arrived covertly, watching from the shadows. Naruto wanted to witness Danzo's demise with his own eyes. The assault on the Leaf and the defeat at the final valley had crushed Sasuke's arrogance, but the fire of vengeance within him burned hotter than ever. The sight of countless Sharingan eyes embedded in Danzo's flesh made Sasuke's skin crawl, but his hatred far outweighed his horror. Sasuke unleashed Amaterasu with his left eye. Danzo was instantly reduced to ash, only to vanish like a dream through the power of Izanagi, reappearing perfectly unharmed on the opposite side. Danzo released a barrage of small blades from his sleeve, controlling them mid-air to rain down on Sasuke. The same telekinetic ability seen in Shin Uchiha's clones. Sasuke shielded himself with his Susanoo and fired a spectral arrow, piercing Danzo's chest yet again. The strike was rewritten into an illusion. Danzo glanced at his arm, seeing one eye close forever. He offered a grim smile. Still 199 eyes to go, Danzo let out a sinister laugh. "In theory, I still have 199 minutes of Izanagi remaining. Let's see how long you can truly endure." Sasuke's heart sank. No matter how lethal his strikes were, Danzo would simply vanish like a dream and reappear, perfectly restored, a moment later. Suddenly, Danzo unleashed wood-style, deep forest emergence. A massive tidal wave of gnarled timber surged towards Sasuke. He fought back with his Susanoo's blade and the incinerating flames of Amaterasu, but Danzo gave him no room to breathe, launching a secondary wave of attacks. Sasuke leaped into the air, striking from above, only for Danzo to rewrite the impact into an illusion once more. Realizing he had to break this cycle of destruction, Sasuke flooded the battlefield with purple chakra, manifesting his perfect Susanoo. He crushed Danzo beneath the Titan's massive feet, yet Danzo appeared instantly beside him, unscathed. Driven to near madness, Sasuke crushed him again and again. One by one, the eyes on Danzo's arm began to close, but the cost was staggering. Sasuke's physical stamina and the light in his own eyes were rapidly fading. Exhaustion finally took hold, and the Susanoo's movements slowed. Danzo seized the opening, leaping into the air. He tore the bandage from his right eye, revealing the Sharingan of Kagami Uchiha, and cast a powerful genjutsu on Sasuke. Sasuke felt himself being dragged into a void, his body paralyzed in a different dimension. In that heartbeat of vulnerability, Danzo closed the distance and swung his blade, severing Sasuke's left arm. The excruciating pain shattered the genjutsu. Sasuke let out a guttural scream, clutching his mangled shoulder, but even in his agony, he forced his Susanoo to retaliate, claiming another of Danzo's lives. But it was over. His perfect Susanoo shattered, regressing into its skeletal humanoid form. Danzo glanced at his arm. Sasuke had managed to burn through 30 of his eyes. "Time to end this game," Danzo declared. Suddenly, blades erupted from the earth, impaling Sasuke through the chest. Danzo taunted him. "Can those eyes of yours not even perceive the threat beneath your feet? Itachi's greatest mistake was letting you live." Danzo drew a kunai and charged with full killing intent. Sasuke's vision began to blur into darkness. In what felt like his final moments, He thought of Naruto and his brother Itachi. What have I actually done with this life? Filled with regret, Sasuke closed his eyes. Danzo roared, "Perish, you final stain on the Uchiha name!" But at that exact microsecond, a kunai thudded into the ground between them with the speed of a lightning strike. A shadow shrouded in brilliant violet electricity materialized as a shield before Sasuke. When Danzo's kunai struck the purple armor, it snapped in half like a dry twig. Naruto had finally entered the fray. Seeing Sasuke's broken state, Naruto's fury reached an absolute peak. He cast a cold, terrifying glare at the white Zetsu lurking in the shadows, commanding them to show themselves. He then extended his hand, using universal pull to drag Sasuke's severed arm through the air and into his grip. He threw the limb to a Zetsu and barked an order. "Take this and begin reattaching it immediately. Save him." Naruto fixed his cold, predator-like gaze on Danzo. His voice carried a deathly silence that echoed through the battlefield. "This is your final night. No one can save you now. I swear it upon the name of the Hokage." Danzo felt a shiver of primal fear, but he still held 169 Sharingan eyes. Desperate, he roared, "Wood-style, deep forest emergence!" as massive, gnarled roots surged toward Naruto. Naruto instantly manifested two shadow clones. They utilized a variation of Kakashi's technique, the lightning cable, slicing through the oncoming timber like dry straw. Naruto lunged forward, cleaving Danzo in two, but the elder vanished through Izanagi and reappeared instantly. Naruto moved again, driving a Chidori straight through Danzo's chest again. Danzo was restored. Naruto used universal pull to drag him into the air and summoned a giant bird directly on top of Danzo's body. Mounting the beast, Naruto took to the skies and began a relentless aerial bombardment. Danzo's revival eyes began to close in rapid succession. In a panic, Danzo gathered his telekinetic blades beneath his feet, using them as a platform to take flight. He closed the distance, lashing out with his remaining arsenal. Naruto was impressed. Using Shin Uchiha's power for aerial combat? Interesting. Naruto smirked. "Let's see how many blades you have left." Naruto unleashed a continuous barrage of fire-style attacks. The explosion slowly whittled away Danzo's blades. Conan grew concerned about Naruto's stamina, but he reassured her. "The setup is complete." Above them, the sky blackened and thunder roared. This had been Naruto's plan all along. Sasuke's ultimate technique was now in Naruto's hands. "Sage art, Kirin!" The lightning beast descended from the heavens, striking Danzo with cataclysmic force. His blades were scattered and he plummeted to the earth. Realizing victory was impossible, Danzo began a frantic retreat toward the hidden leaf. Naruto and Conan pursued him, launching a non-stop assault to burn through his remaining lives before he could reach the village gates. Danzo ran like a madman, relying solely on Izanagi to stay alive. One by one, the eyes on his arm went dark. Hours later, only a single eye remained, and the gates of Konoha were finally in sight. Naruto appeared before him in a flash of purple lightning. He hurled a kunai, but this time Danzo did not trigger Izanagi. He knew his end had come. He simply wanted to use his last moments of true sight to look upon the Hokage rock one final time. His wish was granted. Naruto's hand, wreathed in purple electricity, tore through Danzo's chest. The Sultan of Shadows was finally dead. Naruto looked down at the corpse, marveling at the man's insane, destructive obsession with the title of Hokage. As Danzo breathed his last, deep within the desert sands, the reanimation jutsu was activated. Madara Uchiha had been brought back to the land of the living. The legendary warrior was now on a direct path to find Naruto. But Naruto had no intention of slowing down. He set out immediately to claim the secret jutsu of the remaining great nation. Following the fall of Danzo, Naruto's next target was the legendary Onoki of the Hidden Stone Village. Knowing that the old Tsuchikage was no ordinary adversary, Naruto chose the path of high-stakes diplomacy over direct warfare. He dispatched Conan with a message, a formal request to study the Hidden Stone's secret scrolls, promising that the knowledge would never be used against them. Onoki weighed the message carefully. He sensed the aura of a world-class leader in Naruto's words. He knew that a refusal could lead to a conflict his village might not survive. Onoki countered with a condition. "I will grant you access to our secret jutsu only if you provide the secret scrolls of the Hidden Cloud in exchange." Naruto agreed instantly. Through this alliance, Naruto mastered the Earth style, weighted rock jutsu, and the second Tsuchikage's legendary dustless, bewildering cover. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Akatsuki hideout, Sasuke finally regained consciousness. Thanks to Zetsu's medical intervention, his severed arm had been successfully reattached, though he was far from full strength. When he learned that Naruto had not only executed Danzo, but had personally intervened to save his life. Sasuke was paralyzed by the news. His primary target was dead, and he found himself drifting in a void, his purpose shattered. At the same time, Obito was now at his peak, wielding both of his original Kamui eyes. He decided to purge the traitors within his own circle. He tracked down Black Zetsu and manifested a pitch-black Susanoo, mirroring Kakashi's form. Using the Susanoo's divine blade, the Shisho Shinbu, Obito struck Black Zetsu, exiling the entity into a void realm from which there was no return. Black Zetsu's screams echoed briefly before he vanished into nothingness, but a far greater shadow was rising. In the desert wastes, Kabuto had finished briefing Madara Uchiha on everything from Obito's betrayal to Naruto's godlike ascension. Madara leaped from a high precipice and established a connection with a fragment of Black Zetsu that had managed to cling to existence. The dying entity whispered the location of Obito's secret stronghold. Madara moved with godlike speed, but upon arrival, he found Sasuke instead of Obito. Seeing a stranger intruding, Sasuke launched a great fireball jutsu, but Madara didn't even flinch. He simply brushed the dust from his battle-worn armor and retaliated with majestic destroyer flame. The wall of fire was so colossal, it began to melt the ethereal armor of Sasuke's Susanoo. Sasuke stood in horror, his spirit breaking. "This is impossible. Who are you?" Madara looked at Sasuke's face, momentarily reminded of his brother Izuna. He offered Sasuke a chance to join him, but Sasuke refused and summoned his perfect Susanoo. Madara offered a cold, predatory smile. "Fine, I suppose I'll have to get a little serious as well." In an instant, Madara's deep blue perfect Susanoo stabilized, its head towering into the clouds. Sasuke looked up, his eyes wide with absolute terror. The two perfect Susanoo stood face to face, but the chasm between Sasuke and Madara's power was absolute. Against Madara's towering titan, Sasuke's Susanoo looked like a fragile toy. Sasuke screamed into the void, "Who are you? How can your power be this incomprehensible?" The outcome was as inevitable as it was brutal. Sasuke was crushed, buried beneath the rubble of his own defeat. After facing back-to-back losses, his will to fight was completely shattered. Madara initially reached out to claim Sasuke's eyes, but he paused, changing his mind. Instead, he seized Sasuke's bandaged left arm and twisted it with cold, bone-snapping brutality. Sasuke's agonizing screams filled the air. Madara whispered, "This is your weakness. You've become so reliant on your left hand that you've forgotten how to use your right. I am granting you one more chance. Do not disappoint me again." Madara departed, leaving the broken Uchiha behind. Upon reaching a vast open field, he clasped his hands together and attempted to summon the Nine Tails. Hundreds of miles away, Naruto suddenly doubled over, a searing, agonizing burn erupting across his seal. He collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. Inside him, Kurama, who had been dormant for years, snapped awake. Terror flooded the fox's eyes. "This wretched, terrifying chakra. Is it Madara?" Naruto pressed his hand against the seal, comforting the beast. "Don't be afraid, Kurama. No matter what happens, I will protect you." Naruto looked at Conan, his expression grimmer than she had ever seen it. "The real Madara Uchiha has returned. He's tracked my location. He'll be here any moment." Seeing a flicker of genuine fear in Naruto's eyes made Conan's own heart race with nerves. Finally, the moment Naruto dreaded arrived. As Madara stepped onto the shoreline, a massive tidal wave rose as if in salute. He stood regally upon the surface of the water. Naruto stood his ground, his fear hardening into resolve. Madara glanced at the army of giant summoning beasts Naruto had gathered and taunted him. "Quite the army you've raised. You're putting my eyes to good use." Naruto replied without flinching. "These eyes are the legacy of my senior, Nagato." Instead of arguing, Madara struck Majestic Destroyer Flame. A colossal wall of fire roared toward Naruto. Conan stood frozen by the sheer scale of the power. Naruto offered a thin smile and manifested two clones. Together, they unleashed Master Jiraiya's signature technique, Sage Art Goemon. The combination of oil, fire, and wind collided with Madara's inferno, stalling it mid-air. Madara was slightly impressed. "This boy has a massive reservoir of chakra." He shifted his hand signs to intensify the heat, layering in wind-style vacuum blast. Instantly, dozens of towering fire tornadoes formed, swirling into a massive firestorm that surged toward Naruto. Madara's assault was a relentless storm, drawing no distinction between friend and foe. Taking full advantage of his immortal Edo Tensei body, he unleashed a continuous, indiscriminate barrage of fire. Seeing this, Naruto tapped into his nature energy, causing the very ocean to tremble. Combining senjutsu with the power of the earth, he raised a titanic tidal wave that extinguished Madara's fire tornadoes in a single crashing instant. As the spray settled, Madara's Susanoo stood revealed in all its regal glory. The dozens of giant summoning beasts Naruto had called forth swarmed the Uchiha, surrounding him on all sides. Madara held his ground alone against the monstrous horde, refusing to retreat an inch. Suddenly, a massive aquatic beast lunged from the depths, seizing Madara's legs and dragging him into the abyss. Madara realized then that Naruto had deployed an entire army beneath the waves as well. Madara obliterated the aquatic summons and surged back to the surface. He was done playing games. He activated one of the Rinnegan's most terrifying powers, Tengai Shinsei. A meteorite so colossal it blotted out the sun began its descent from the heavens. Conan's eyes widened in sheer terror. Is this also the power of the Rinnegan? Naruto quickly explained the situation and used Flying Reign to teleport her back to the safety of the Rain Village. Madara watched him vanish and reappear with genuine intrigue. So, he knows the Flying Reign as well? Now I understand why Obito fell to him. The meteorite struck the ocean, triggering a cataclysmic tsunami. When the chaos finally subsided, Naruto's summoning beasts had all been dispelled. Naruto returned to the sea alone. He could not risk Conan's life in a duel against a monster like Madara. Madara charged at him like a hurricane, but was suddenly repelled by an invisible strike, the power of Frog Kumite. Seizing the opening, Naruto clasped his hands, Chibaku Tensei. The debris of the previous meteorite and Madara himself were sucked toward the gravitational core, but Madara knew the weakness of this technique. He hurled Susanoo chakra blades to shatter the core while stabilizing his perfect Susanoo. A single swing of Madara's blade cleaved distant mountains in half. Naruto ignited his purple lightning armor, weaving through the lethal strikes like a bolt of violet light. Madara's Susanoo was vastly larger and more refined than Sasuke's. The same tactics wouldn't work here. Naruto roared, "This is the only way." He unleashed Chibaku Tensei again, but with a high-level twist. Instead of creating a separate core, he made Madara's Susanoo the center of gravity. Massive jagged rocks and tectonic plates began to gravitate toward Madara, encasing him in his own prison. Madara was stunned by this ingenious application of the jutsu. As the stone began to crush the Susanoo, cracks appeared. Madara was breaking out from the inside. Naruto instantly soared into the air and placed his hands beneath the gargantuan sphere. He channeled the technique he had just learned from Onoki. Earth style. Super added weight rock jutsu. He multiplied the mass of the entire Chibaku Tensei thousands of times over. The immense pressure sealed every crack, rendering Madara completely immobile. The titanic sphere plummeted into the ocean, sending shockwaves across the planet. Madara was now sealed within the deepest, darkest trench of the sea. Naruto returned with Conan. She stood on the shore, trembling as she stared at the spot where Madara had been buried. The fear that he might still claw his way back to the surface lingered in the air, like a cold mist. Conan stared at the vast ocean in disbelief. Is Madara Uchiha truly sealed away that easily? Naruto offered a grim reassurance. This super-weighted version of Chibaku Tensei is thousands of times stronger than the standard one. Unless Madara masters a super lightweight technique or possesses a specific space-time jutsu, escaping that pressure is impossible. Conan let out a long-awaited breath of relief. Back in the Rain Village, all I could do was pray for you. It's a miracle you secured that Earth-style jutsu from the Stone Village. Otherwise, the outcome today would have been very different. But Naruto didn't share her relief. He grew even more solemn. Facing Madara's raw power had made him realize he hadn't yet reached his true zenith. His resolve to ascend to greater heights burned deeper than ever. The two set off toward their next destination, the Hidden Cloud Village, where another storm was already brewing. Meanwhile, Obito had received word from White Zetsu that Madara had been reanimated and had infiltrated his stronghold. He knew staying there was suicide. He dragged the unconscious and battered Sasuke, who had been nearly killed by Madara, into his Kamui dimension and vanished toward a new, secure location. Then, Zetsu delivered the real bombshell. Naruto and Madara clashed at sea. In the end, Naruto imprisoned Madara within a Chibaku Tensei. Obito's eyes widened in shock. Chibaku Tensei is formidable, but Madara Uchiha isn't someone who can be contained so simply. When Zetsu explained how Naruto had hybridized the secret techniques of multiple villages to strengthen the seal, Obito realized Naruto was evolving into a terrifyingly brilliant tactician. Obito calculated Naruto's trajectory and knew exactly where he was headed next. The secret scrolls of the Hidden Cloud. He decided that the final reckoning with Naruto would take place in that very village. In a nearby room, Sasuke had regained consciousness and overheard the entire conversation. His mind felt like it was fracturing. To hear that Naruto had defeated the very man who had effortlessly crushed him sparked a jealousy and hatred that bordered on insanity. A memory of Black Zetsu's voice echoed in his mind. If you seek absolute power, go to Kabuto. Meanwhile, far out at sea, directly above the trench where Madara lay buried, Kabuto had already made his move. Using the reanimation jutsu, he took control of the second Tsuchikage Mu began channeling his super lightweight technique, slowly stripping the agonizing mass from the stone sphere to liberate the legendary Madara Uchiha. The moment the second Tsuchikage, Mu, utilized his weight-altering technique to liberate Madara from the crushing oceanic pressure, Madara retaliated without hesitation. He seized Mu by the throat, his voice cold and lethal. "I am finished with that brat's sealing antics. Now, it is your turn to contribute." Utilizing the Preta path, Madara drained every drop of Mu's chakra, and through the human path, he forcibly extracted the memories and secrets of the lightweight jutsu directly from Mu's mind. From across thousands of miles, Madara sent a chilling warning to Kabuto. Kabuto broke into a cold sweat. He had never imagined Madara could possess the will to sever the contract of the reanimation jutsu and act on his own. Madara looked at his trembling palms. It wasn't fear, but pure, unadulterated excitement. Not since his final battle with Hashirama had he felt such a thrill. This is how a shinobi's battle should be. He resolved to fully master the 6 paths of the Rinnegan before settling his final score with Naruto. Meanwhile, Naruto and Conan arrived at the hidden mist village. Sticking to their diplomatic strategy, they reached out to the Mizukage, Mei Terumi. Naruto promised that in exchange for access to the village's secret scrolls, he would personally act as Kirigakure's ultimate shield in the future. The response was surprisingly positive. Mei Terumi herself arrived to meet Naruto, carrying the scrolls. Everything seemed so seamless that even Naruto and Conan grew suspicious. Just as Naruto reached for the scrolls, Mei's eyes glazed over. With blurred speed, she wove hand signs and unleashed lava style, acidic mud. Naruto grabbed Conan and leaped 10 meters back just as the corrosive mist began to spread. He instantly sensed that Mei's chakra was in total disarray. She was under the influence of a high-level genjutsu. Using his lightning reflexes, Naruto struck a precise pressure point on Mei's abdomen to break her focus, then used the Sharingan in his right eye to dispel the illusion. As Mei collapsed into unconsciousness, a dark, ominous Kamui vortex began to spiral in the sky. Naruto's eyes narrowed. It was Obito, and he now possessed both of his original eyes. Naruto's body reacted faster than his mind. Before Obito could even fully emerge, Naruto launched a great fireball jutsu, creating a massive wall of flame in the sky to obscure Obito's vision. Under the cover of the smoke, Naruto deployed a smoke bomb and used flying Raijin to teleport himself, Conan, and the unconscious Mei back to the safety of the Rain Village. Obito stared at the empty space where Naruto had stood moments ago. "His reaction speed is truly remarkable," he muttered to himself. He didn't pursue. He was certain that Naruto would eventually return for the scrolls. Back in Omegakure, a bewildered Conan asked, "Naruto, you've defeated him before. Why did we have to retreat so suddenly today?" Naruto's face remained grim. "The situation has changed, Conan. Back then he only had one Kamui eye, but now he has evolved into something else entirely. Today's Obito possesses both Kamui eyes. If he locks his gaze on you for even a fraction of a second, he can sever your head from your shoulders instantly. Fighting him without absolute preparation is nothing short of a suicide mission." Just then, Mei Terumi, the Mizukage, regained consciousness. Touched by Naruto's honesty and his intervention, she officially handed over the secret scrolls of the Mist Village. In return, Naruto reaffirmed his vow to stand as the Mist's ultimate guardian in times of crisis. To find a counter to Obito's perfected Kamui, Naruto manifested thousands of shadow clones once more, beginning a grueling mastery of the Mist's most clandestine techniques. A few days later, Obito stood amidst the Mist Village, waiting for Naruto to appear. When Naruto failed to show, Obito prepared to level the village. But suddenly, a fog so dense it felt solid began to blanket the entire region. It was the Hidden Mist's secret art. Hidden Mist, Demon's Moon Shadow. Naruto's strategy was surgical. Obscure Obito's line of sight so he could no longer lock his Kamui onto a specific target. Obito saw through the ploy immediately. He started using Kamui to pull the fog into his own dimension, clearing the air. Taking advantage of that opening, Naruto activated his new, dustless bewildering technique, becoming completely invisible as he lunged at Obito. However, the moment Naruto manifested to land a blow, Obito's heightened reflexes allowed him to react. Naruto was forced to retreat 100 meters using flying Raijin. Obito offered a cold smile. "You understand the mechanics of my eyes, but understanding is not enough." He slammed his palms down, erecting an Uchiha flame formation barrier that trapped Naruto within a fixed radius. He then signaled Guru Zetsu to trigger Deep Forest Bloom, flooding the area with toxic pollen to ensure Naruto had nowhere to hide. Still invisible, Naruto moved with predatory speed directly in front of Zetsu. He mimicked the Hozuki clan's water pistol technique, but infused the jet with purple lightning. The high-pressure electrical stream tore through Zetsu's wooden exterior, liberating Yamato, who was trapped inside. Naruto couldn't get him past the barrier, so he instantly utilized the Naraka path to safely store Yamato's body and soul within the King of Hell for protection. Sensing his puppet was compromised, Obito launched his Kamui Shuriken. It was the same lethal technique Kakashi had once used against Kage-level threats. Naruto countered by hurling a Rasen Shuriken, but the moment they collided, his jutsu was warped into the Kamui dimension, leaving him defenseless. Naruto vanished again. In that brief skirmish, he had calculated the math. The range of Obito's long-range Kamui was approximately 120 meters. This was shorter than Sasuke's future Amenote Jikara at 150 meters. Therefore, 150 meters was the dead zone. Naruto intentionally reappeared exactly 150 meters away from Obito. Obito was stunned. He's already calculated my Kamui's maximum effective range, but Obito had one more trump card. He focused his left eye, creating a small vortex just 30 meters in front of Naruto. Suddenly, a massive tailed beast bomb from the 8 tails erupted from the rift. Obito intended to execute Naruto using his own comrade's stolen power. Naruto gasped in disbelief. Using Kamui like that? I never saw it coming. The tailed beast bomb detonated with enough force to reduce the entire sector to rubble, but exactly 1 second before the shockwave could vaporize him, Naruto vanished via flying Reijin, reappearing on the opposite flank. He counterattacked instantly. Sage Art, Frog Gushing Wave, a stream of water. Compressed so intensely it hummed like a high-frequency laser, sliced through the air toward Obito. Reacting with practiced ease, Obito shifted into his intangibility mode. He realized that standard jutsu would never breach Naruto's defenses. Then try this! Obito roared. His Susanoo tore through the earth, manifesting in its terrifying glory. In the Titan's hand, a strange, obsidian black Magatama flickered with an unnatural light. Obito declared, "This strike will shatter your every hope." The black Magatama began to spin violently, hurtling toward Naruto. Naruto threw a Rasen Shuriken to intercept it, but there was no collision. The black Magatama passed straight through Naruto's jutsu. It possessed the same phasing properties as Kamui. Naruto's heart raced. He channeled the Deva Path for a massive, almighty push, but the repulsive force washed over the Magatama without slowing it down by a single inch. Naruto attempted to lose it using flying Reijin and invisibility, but the Magatama tracked him like a bloodhound, banking through the air to follow his every movement. Obito's laughter echoed across the battlefield. "It's futile, Naruto! It will never stop until it erases you from existence." The Magatama was now inches away. Naruto pushed his body to its absolute limit, activating his purple lightning mode. He sprinted at godlike speed toward the perimeter of the Uchiha flame formation barrier that held him prisoner. As he ran, he manifested the purple thunder spiral sword in his left hand and drove it into the barrier with everything he had. The moment the Magatama made contact with his shadow, the barrier shattered. In a thousandth of a second, Naruto triggered flying Reijin, teleporting directly to his secret hideout in the Rain Village. The black Magatama, having lost its target, dissipated into the void. Obito's eyes burned with fury. Even after all that, he still got away. Ignoring Zetsu's warnings, he rushed through a Kamui rift, chasing Naruto straight into the heart of a Megakuri. As soon as he arrived, Obito noticed something unsettling. The rain that had fallen over a Megakuri for years had suddenly stopped. The sky wasn't clear, though. Instead, a strange, shimmering haze blanketed the entire village. Thinking it was another mist-based trick, Obito tried to pull the haze into the Kamui dimension, but the fog only grew thicker and more disorienting. Naruto was utilizing the second Mizukage's ultimate trump card, Mirage Giant Clam. This jutsu had one glaring weakness. Naruto had to remain perfectly stationary for it to work. Obito prowled through the haze like a madman, searching for the source. He spotted Naruto's silhouette and launched a tailed beast bomb, but as the smoke cleared, Naruto stood there unharmed, mocking him. It was a mere mirage. Losing all patience, Obito began an indiscriminate massacre of the surrounding area. Kamui Shuriken and tailed beast bombs rained down in a frantic search and destroy pattern. One explosion detonated a mere 3 meters from Naruto's true body. At that moment, Naruto's preparation was complete. He opened his eyes and allowed a thin smile to cross his face. Now, it's my turn. From the shimmering haze, hundreds of identical, physical-looking mirage clones emerged, slowly encircling the frantic Obito. From the depths of the shimmering haze, Naruto's voice boomed. Museum of bright colors. This was the second Mizukage's ultimate illusion, now supercharged by Naruto's Sage chakra. With the aid of the giant clam, Naruto manifested thousands of shimmering clones that were no mere hallucinations. Each one carried a roaring, physical Rasengan in its palm. A literal sea of Narutos descended upon Obito's Susanoo. No matter how impenetrable the ethereal armor seemed, it began to crumble under the relentless, synchronized grinding of 1,000 spinning spheres. Obito realized he was caught in a death trap. He quickly pulled Guru Zetsu into his Kamui dimension and attempted to follow, but the barrage of clones was so dense and rapid that he was forced to remain in intangibility mode just to survive. Naruto's roar pierced the chaos. This is a test of endurance, Obito. Let's see what fails first, your 5-minute limit, or my chakra reservoir. For the next 5 minutes, thousands of Rasengans passed harmlessly through Obito's phased body. But the moment the timer hit the limit, Obito's Kamui deactivated. A massive Rasengan slammed directly into his white mask with bone-shattering force. Obito plummeted to the surface of the ocean, gasping for air, his vision blurring into darkness from the overexertion of his dojutsu. Naruto stood over him, with Conan by his side. Obito prepared to sacrifice one eye to trigger Izanagi, but Naruto stopped him in his tracks. Look beneath your feet, Obito. Conan raised her hand, and the sea split in two. Obito's heart nearly stopped. Below the surface lay 600 billion explosive tags, rigged to detonate continuously for 10 solid minutes. Naruto spoke with a haunting calm. Not even Izanagi can rewrite a death that lasts 10 minutes. Obito assessed the situation. He realized that a fight to the death here would only benefit Madara. He struggled to his feet, blood dripping from his mask. Fine, you win this round. For now, I take my leave. Using the last of his strength, he spiraled into a Kamui rift and vanished. Naruto let out a long, heavy breath. As the adrenaline faded, a wave of pure exhaustion crashed over him. He stumbled forward, his eyes closing before he even hit the ground, falling into a deep, death-like sleep. But while Naruto slept, a new betrayal was unfolding. At Obito's hideout, Sasuke drove his Susanu's blade through the white Zetsu guarding him. Sasuke had abandoned Obito. His hunger for power had led him to a new target, Kabuto. Soon, news arrived that would have jolted Naruto awake. Kisame had successfully retrieved Jiraiya's body from the crushing depths of the ocean. The path for Naruto to ascend as an Otsutsuki was now clear. Kisame delivered the remains to Orochimaru. As Orochimaru initiated the reanimation jutsu, Naruto, having woken and arrived immediately, used the human path to rip Jiraiya's soul from the synthetic body. He refused to let his master be a mere puppet. He wanted him truly alive. Naruto summoned the Naraka path. Into the gargantuan maw of the King of Hell, Naruto placed both Jiraiya's physical remains and his soul. The massive iron jaws began to grind and glow with otherworldly energy. After a few moments, the King of Hell spat out Yamato, whom Naruto had stored earlier for safety. Yamato looked around in a daze, stunned to see Naruto standing there. But the King of Hell was still working on Jiraiya. Naruto's fists were clenched white, and his heart hammered against his ribs as he waited for the man who meant everything to him. After that agonizing, soul-crushing wait, the familiar clatter of wooden sandals echoed through the chamber, and a silhouette emerged from the light. The crushing weight on Naruto's heart finally lifted. Standing before him was Master Jiraiya. Jiraiya looked at Naruto with profound depth. His lips moved to speak, but only a hollow, raspy whisper escaped his throat. Naruto's eyes welled up as he sprinted forward, pulling his master into a fierce embrace. In that heavy silence, everything was understood. After returning to this world 3 months ago, Naruto had finally fulfilled his vow to cross the boundaries of life and death to reunite with his mentor. Shortly after, Orochimaru conducted a thorough physical examination. Aside from his lost voice, Jiraiya's body was exactly as it had been before his death. Naruto's brow furrowed. Is his voice gone because of the strike pain delivered to his throat? Orochimaru shook his head. No, the physical wounds have healed, and his soul is intact. This is likely the price exacted by nature for snatching a life back from the void, a small fee for interfering with the cycle of life and death. He warned Naruto against using such resurrection techniques again. Naruto agreed. Simply having his master back was the ultimate victory. Once Jiraiya was moved to a secure location, Conan delivered devastating news. Sasuke had allied himself with Kabuto and had murdered Sai during an encounter. Sakura and the other Leaf comrades had set out for revenge, but due to Sakura's weakness and her lingering attachment to Sasuke, They were utterly defeated. To save them, Might Guy was forced to open the 8th gate of death. While Guy's sacrifice saved their lives, he perished in the process. To make matters worse, Kabuto had seized DNA samples from Guy's body during the chaos. Naruto clenched his fists in a silent rage. All this happened while I was recovering for just a moment. He moved immediately to stabilize the situation. He traveled to the mountain range where Sasuke's blood had been spilled. He managed to secure samples of Sasuke's chakra, but Kabuto had already meticulously scrubbed any other traces of the battle between Guy and Sasuke. Returning to Omegakure, Naruto sought Orochimaru's aid. Using a white Zetsu as a vessel, he brought Sai back via the reanimation jutsu. Sai was as calm as ever, greeting Naruto with his signature faint smile. When Naruto asked if he wished to remain in this form, Sai accepted. Naruto promptly appointed him as the general commander of Omegakure's Anbu forces. Meanwhile, at the Akatsuki's new stronghold, Obito used the samples from Sasuke's severed arm to fuse his own bloodline with the true roots of the Uchiha clan. He then transplanted the eyes of Fugaku Uchiha, which he had stolen years ago. The path to the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan was now open to him. He hadn't wanted to take this path, but Naruto's overwhelming power had forced his hand. He swore to complete the Eye of the Moon plan at any cost. Naruto ensured Mizukage Mei Terumi returned safely to her village and solidified a powerful alliance with her. He then returned to Orochimaru. His next objective was to acquire wood style. He knew the enemies were growing more dangerous by the second and couldn't afford a moment's waste. While the procedure was simple for Orochimaru, he offered a crucial suggestion. Naruto, before taking on wood style, you must first awaken the true Uzumaki power dormant within you. Orochimaru explained in meticulous detail, if we fully awaken your Uzumaki bloodline, your body will be able to assimilate Hashirama's cells completely, without a single side effect. Orochimaru's plan was to first transfer remnants of Mito Uzumaki's pure blood and chakra into Naruto. This would allow Naruto to not only master Hashirama's wood style, but also absorb and adapt to any other powerful cellular structures. Naruto immediately consented to the procedure. That evening, Naruto received a clandestine invitation from Gaara, requesting his presence in the hidden sand village. Naruto arrived instantly. He intended to reveal the full truth about his journey from the future, but Gaara stopped him before he could speak. Looking Naruto in the eye, Gaara said, "Naruto, you don't need to explain yourself to me. I know that whatever you are doing is for the sake of the Shinobi world. Between friends, trust carries more weight than words." Gaara was one of the few people Naruto could truly open up to. Knowing that Naruto was collecting the secret scrolls of all nations, Gaara handed over the Hidden Sand's secret scrolls without being asked. Placing a hand on Naruto's shoulder, he vowed, "No matter what the era brings, Gaara of the desert will always stand as your shield. Even if you must fight the entire world, I will be by your side." Naruto felt a surge of emotion. In that moment, words felt far too small. After bidding farewell to the sand, Naruto returned to Omegakure. During his absence, Conan had recounted Naruto's entire future history to Master Jiraiya, how Naruto had redeemed Nagato and Conan, became Hokage, and brought peace to the world. But she also spoke of the devastation wrought by enemies like the Otsutsuki, who had destroyed Naruto's world and taken everyone he loved. Conan remarked, "What Naruto is doing today may not look right to everyone, but it is a grand strategy to prevent the ultimate destruction of the future." After hearing everything, Jiraiya wrote a single word on a piece of paper: "Watch over." It was only the second word he had written since his resurrection. The first had been forgiveness. Immediately after, Jiraiya's expression turned solemn as he scrawled a series of cryptic codes and numbers. Conan kept the paper safe and handed it to Naruto the moment he returned. Naruto recognized it instantly. They were secret codes referring to pages and words within Jiraiya's published books. To unravel these secrets, he had to return to the Hidden Leaf once more. Naruto arrived in Konoha, where Shikaku Nara was already waiting for him at his flying Raijin mark. Shikaku led him to his home. Over dinner and conversation, Naruto shared memories of the future and the events of the Great War. He expected skepticism, but the genius strategist analyzed Naruto's actions thus far and spoke. "Naruto, you aren't lying. If nothing else, Inoichi and I are alive today because of you. Otherwise, we would have perished in the Ten Tails assault." Shikaku smiled and added, "Konoha's Inoshikacho team stands with you. Leave the rest to time. It will prove your truth on its own." Shikaku Nara placed the secret scrolls of all three Inoshikacho clans into Naruto's hands with absolute trust. Naruto finally acquired the multi-sized jutsu he had been searching for. Following this, he quietly slipped into Kakashi's residence to collect a complete set of the Icha books required to decode Jiraiya's cryptic message. Upon returning to Omegakure, Naruto began training with the new jutsu, while Conan dedicated herself to unraveling the secret codes. In Konoha, Kakashi reported everything to Lady Tsunade at the Hokage's office. The moment Tsunade heard that Jiraiya was alive, her eyes filled with tears. Kakashi also delivered Naruto's personal message. Grandma Tsunade can visit Omegakure whenever she wishes to see Jiraiya-sensei. Standing outside the door, Sakura overheard everything. In recent days, Sakura's world had crumbled. The mission to bring Sasuke back had failed, and her parents had been killed during Sasuke's assault. The news of Jiraiya's return offered her a final glimmer of hope. The following morning, Conan successfully decoded Jiraiya's message. It read, "I have returned from the Pure Land, left memories behind, residents of the world of the dead, forbidden for the living, never." Naruto couldn't grasp the full meaning of this fragmented message, but it was clear that Jiraiya had uncovered a terrifying secret from beyond death, a secret so dangerous it couldn't be written in plain words. Conan feared that the loss of Jiraiya's voice was not a mere coincidence, but a cosmic conspiracy to keep that great secret hidden. Suddenly, Sakura arrived in Omegakure. Weeping, she told Naruto how her parents had been killed in Sasuke's attack. Naruto was drowned in a deep sense of guilt. He had changed history, and that very change had cost Sakura her family. He also realized with a start that if things continued this way, the future existence of Sarada would be erased entirely. Sakura pleaded, "Naruto, if you can bring back Jiraiya-sama, can you bring my parents back too?" Naruto remained silent. After seeing Jiraiya's condition and hearing Orochimaru's warning, he didn't want to use the King of Hell technique again. He chose a middle path and summoned Sakura's parents back via the reanimation jutsu. However, the joy was short-lived. In an unguarded moment, Sakura revealed to the people of Omegakure that Naruto was the one who defeated pain. The citizens of the Rain Village worshipped pain as their god. As soon as they heard this, the atmosphere became dangerously tense. Realizing her mistake, Sakura fled the village immediately. But Violet, a loyal soldier of Naruto, was infuriated by Sakura's recklessness. She felt that Sakura had become a liability to Naruto's secret mission. Without telling anyone, Violet stealthily pursued Sakura and, seizing her chance, ended Sakura's life. When Kabuto received news of Sakura's death, he secured her remains and reanimated her via Edo Tensei. He brought the puppet-like Sakura before Sasuke. When Sasuke looked upon his former teammate as a hollow, reanimated corpse, his eyes showed no emotion. He cared for nothing now but absolute power. Instead of grieving for Sakura, Sasuke mocked her, viewing her only as a pathetic Edo Tensei puppet. His words of pure hatred acted like a spark in a volcano, igniting the rage dormant within Sakura. In a blur of movement, she drove her fist toward Sasuke with everything she had. The impact shattered Sasuke's Susanoo armor like glass, sending him crashing through a wall. Disbelief flickered in Sasuke's eyes and Sakura's gaze. There was no longer love, only murderous intent. Amidst the chaos, Sakura seized the opportunity to flee Kabuto's hideout. As Kabuto began to weave hand signs to forcibly regain control, Sasuke stopped him. "Let her go. She is of no further use to us." The following evening, Sakura stood before Naruto in Omegakure. Naruto recoiled in horror at the sight of her reanimated form. "Sakura, who did this to you?" Sakura kept Violet's involvement a secret, claiming instead that she had fallen from a cliff in a tragic accident. With a heavy heart, Naruto instantly severed Kabuto's control over her, granting her free will. Sakura officially joined Omegakure as their lead medical ninja. Suddenly, a terrifying disturbance erupted at the village borders. Madara Uchiha had materialized, executing an Anbu guard in seconds. Naruto and Conan immediately sensed the suffocating chakra. Standing atop the village's highest peak, Madara had prepared a gift for Naruto. Earth-style, super-weighted Tengai Shinsei. The falling meteorite was 1,000 times heavier and denser than a standard one. Fear and despair gripped Omegakure. But then, Naruto roared. Moving as a bolt of purple lightning, he positioned himself directly beneath the falling titan. Utilizing the technique he learned from Onoki, super lightweight rock jutsu, he neutralized the mass. The moment the weight vanished, Naruto shattered the core and used Chibaku Tensei to hurl the debris far outside the village limits. But the assault wasn't over. A second meteorite was descending even faster. To increase its lethality, Madara had launched a Super Shinra Tensei behind it to accelerate its velocity. There was no fear in Naruto's eyes, only a wild, desperate passion. He released his own Super Shinra Tensei with every ounce of his strength. A titanic struggle between two divine forces began in mid-air. Finally, the meteorite reached its breaking point and exploded. However, Naruto realized with horror that the fragmented boulders were now raining down directly onto the innocent villagers. At that moment, Sakura summoned Katsuyu. Being in an Edo Tensei form gave her access to limitless chakra. She fully unleashed her strength of 100 seal and manifested the Edo Byakugu, Infinity Katsuyu Jutsu. Millions of Katsuyu clones blanketed a Megakure, wrapping every citizen in a soft, impenetrable shield. Sakura looked up at Naruto and screamed, "Naruto, focus on the fight! Leave the village to me!" Overwhelmed with emotion, Naruto was briefly reminded of their old Team 7 days. As the stone shards fell, Katsuyu saved every single life. When Madara saw the sea of slugs, his gaze locked onto Sakura. He surged toward her, intending to use the human path to rip out her soul and end her existence permanently. Just as Madara's hand reached for her, 3 of Naruto's clones intercepted him with lightning speed. Madara dispersed them with a single strike in his rage, but those few seconds gave Naruto's true body enough time to complete his ultimate technique. Madara's cold gaze was now locked onto Naruto's true body hundreds of meters away. As Naruto sat motionless, gathering every ounce of sage chakra he could muster, Madara roared, "Found you!" and instantly unleashed his majestic destroyer flame. The ocean of fire was about to swallow Naruto whole when a heavy silhouette descended from the heavens. It was Master Jiraiya. Though Jiraiya remained silent, the 2 great toad sages perched on his shoulders took charge. "An old enemy stands as a friend today. Is this your resolve, Jiraiya?" they bellowed, joining forces with him to unleash their most devastating technique. Sage Art Gomen. The flood of boiling oil and fire intercepted Madara's inferno mid-air, stalling the catastrophe. Astonishment flickered across Madara's face. So many masters hidden in this small village of a Megakure? He retaliated by activating deep forest bloom. Poisonous, flowering trees tore through the earth. Kisame leaped into the fray to assist, but before he could launch a single jutsu, the blade of Madara's Susanoo cleaved through the ground and impaled him through the chest. Seeing the opening, Conan utilized Minato's multiple paper explosive tags. The blast from millions of bombs forced Madara back, but as the smoke cleared, his Susanoo still stood defiant. "Futile," Madara remarked. "This reanimated body feels no pain. In this entire world, Naruto, you are the only one left who can provide me with any amusement. Are you ready?" Naruto finally stood up. Facing Madara's 120-meter-tall Susanoo, Naruto activated the ultra-multi-sized jutsu, expanding into a colossal titan shrouded in a shimmering armor of purple lightning. The 2 mountain-sized warriors surged toward each other. Madara swung his Susanoo blade, but Naruto dodged with the godlike speed of his purple lightning. A moment later, Madara struck again, but this time Naruto caught the massive blade out of the air with his bare hands. Madara was stunned, strength exactly like Hashirama's. Using his raw, brute power, Naruto snapped the colossal blade in half and used the shadow imitation jutsu to freeze Madara's Susanoo in its tracks. Naruto lunged forward, dragging Madara out of his Susanoo, and initiated the Yamanaka clan's most forbidden technique, mind transfer. God control. In a terrifying display of mastery, Naruto seized control of the Susanoo itself. Now, Naruto sat within Madara's massive blue perfect Susanoo, operating it like a captured war machine. Naruto's strategic brilliance left Madara reeling with his Susanoo hijacked. Madara found himself unable to reclaim or even dispel his ultimate defense. The advanced Yamanaka technique had proven to be a formidable cage even for the legendary Uchiha. But Madara had come prepared for war. He clasped his hands together, activating Hashirama's famed wood-style wood golem jutsu. The earth splintered as a titan of timber erupted from the ground, standing eye to eye with the perfect Susanoo. The 2 behemoths clashed once more. The Susanoo and the wood golem locked arms in a struggle of pure kinetic force that sent tremors across the continent. Madara roared, "Exhilarate me further, Naruto!" A brutal exchange of mountain-shattering blows followed. But just as Madara began to savor the rhythm of the battle, the Susanoo before him began to disintegrate. The time limit of Naruto's Yamanaka technique had expired. A flicker of disappointment crossed Madara's face. "Is that all? Has your dance ended so soon?" Naruto stood his ground, the purple lightning mode flaring back to life around his body. "I can go all day!" Naruto's defiance brought a smile to Madara's lips. He began to shroud the wood golem in the ethereal armor of the Susanoo. In a heartbeat, the Susanoo armored wood golem stood tall upon the battlefield. Naruto's expression turned grim. Now, things are getting ugly. The armored titan struck, and Naruto used his frog kumite to deflect the first shockwave. However, under the relentless pressure of the subsequent attacks, he was forced to retreat using Flying Raijin. His multi-sized jutsu was now rapidly draining his chakra reserves. At that critical moment, the power of the Diva Path returned. Naruto decided to play his final card. He manifested 2 gravitational cores of Chibaku Tensei in his palms, but instead of launching them into the sky, he compressed them within his grip. Countless jagged rocks and boulders surged toward his hands, transforming his fists into Chibaku Tensei Rock, fists, planet-destroying weapons of mass. Naruto surged forward with lightning speed, striking the armored wood golem. Upon impact, he channeled Inoki's super added weight rock jutsu. The astronomical pressure and mass shattered the golem's primary arm into splinters. Naruto didn't stop. He delivered a follow-up strike with his left hand, spider-webbing the impenetrable Susanoo armor. Summoning every remaining ounce of his strength, Naruto seized the colossal armored titan by the waist and hoisted it over his head. He executed his final maneuver, the unmatchable explosive dive, slamming the titan into the earth with apocalyptic force. A cataclysmic explosion followed, and the Susanoo wood golem was reduced to debris. Madara leaped clear just before the final impact, but even his Edo Tensei body was partially vaporized by the shockwave. Naruto, however, was in a dire state. The combination of total chakra depletion and the multi-sized jutsu had left him emaciated, his body little more than a skeletal frame, as he had burned through his very body fat to sustain the technique. Before Madara's body could regenerate, Naruto blurred forward, driving several black receivers into Madara's spine. The legendary warrior was pinned to the spot. Naruto absorbed a fragment of Madara's chakra to restore his own physical form to normal. Just then, Black Zetsu materialized and vanished with the incapacitated Madara. Naruto did not interfere. Instead, as they faded away, he sent a silent message to Madara through a subtle lip sync. Reading the hidden words, a strange, knowing glint appeared in Madara's eyes before he was swallowed by the shadows. The second clash between Naruto and Madara concluded with a hard-fought Pyrrhic victory for Naruto. A wounded Naruto was helped back to Omegakure by Conan, where the entire village welcomed him like a messiah. The scene mirrored the celebration in Konoha after he defeated Pain. Despite his exhaustion, Naruto's face lit up with a smile. Although the village infrastructure lay in ruins, not a single civilian life had been lost. Naruto thanked Sakura, whose Katsuyu had shielded everyone, and with Yamato on hand. Rebuilding the entire village was a task that would take only moments. At midnight, Naruto and Conan sat down to discuss the village budget. As was well known, Conan had practically drained Omegakure's treasury to purchase those 600 billion explosive tags. Conan's eyes suddenly gleamed. I've heard that Kakuzu deposited a massive fortune in a secret exchange center bank. Naruto immediately pulled out his future team list and added Kakuzu's name to it, alongside the names of Itachi and Sasori. The next day, Orochimaru returned to Omegakure, accompanied by Lady Tsunade and Shizune. Tsunade could not wait a moment longer. When she and Jiraiya finally came face to face after all these years, they embraced without saying a word. The silence was heavier than any words could ever be. After the reunion, they discussed the current situation, and the conversation naturally turned to Naruto. Confusion clouded Tsunade's eyes. Naruto has changed so much that I don't know how Konoha should treat him anymore. In response, Jiraiya traced a single word onto Tsunade's palm: trust. Jiraiya's judgment was Tsunade's judgment, and her inner conflict vanished in an instant. Meanwhile, in Orochimaru's lab, Naruto was lost in deep thought. Fighting Madara had taught him that his current power had hit its limit. To transcend, he had to fully awaken the Uzumaki blood flowing through his veins. Orochimaru did not disappoint. He had successfully synthesized an extract from the cells of Mito Uzumaki. The moment the sample was injected into Naruto's body, he felt his chakra expand like a vast, limitless ocean. When Naruto awoke, his body felt lighter and more powerful than ever before, but one change was unmistakable. Naruto's golden hair had turned a deep, vibrant red, just like his mother Kushina's. Looking at himself in the mirror, Naruto was overwhelmed with emotion. This hair, it looks exactly like Mom's. However, before leaving the lab, he visited a barber and had his hair dyed back to its original golden hue and styled it in his classic look. He smiled to himself, saying, "I love the red, but I'm not just an Uzumaki. I'm also the son of Minato Namikaze." Now, the next step in his power-up was the most critical. Naruto placed his hand on his stomach and entered his mental landscape. There, he stood face to face with Kurama. As soon as he saw Naruto, Kurama sneered, "Did the sudden surge of Mito Uzumaki's power give you the confidence to come show off your strength before me?" Naruto didn't rise to the bait. Instead, he uttered something shocking. "Kurama, you've already met the other Naruto, haven't you?" Kurama's eyes narrowed instantly. While Naruto had been in a deep sleep during his bloodline awakening, he had realized a startling truth. The original Naruto of this past timeline hadn't simply vanished. He was still present within this physical form, and he had reached a silent consensus with the Nine Tails. Kurama dropped the act and let out a deafening roar. "If you want my power, You'll have to defeat both of us. At that moment, another Naruto materialized in the mental landscape. He was shrouded in the radiant golden Kurama chakra mode. He screamed at the Naruto from the future, "I don't accept someone like you as myself. Give me back my body." The past Naruto manifested a massive tailed beast bomb, ready to detonate. In the physical world, Naruto's eyes snapped open. There was a newfound depth in his gaze. "Before I can claim Kurama's full power, I must go to the Falls of Truth. But this time my goal isn't to defeat my inner darkness. It's to defeat my own naive and innocent past." Naruto decided his first destination would be Mount Myoboku. He remembered that Jiraiya had entrusted the key to the 4-symbol seal on his stomach to a specific scroll toad named Gerotora. Using reverse summoning, he arrived back in the familiar landscape. The sights and smells of the mountain brought back vivid memories of his original training days. Guided by the 2 great sage toads, he stood before the great toad sage, Gamamaru. The ancient elder calmly requested everyone else to leave so he could speak with Naruto in private. Once they were alone, he said something that left Naruto paralyzed. "You returned here from the future using that divine relic Karasuki, didn't you?" Naruto was stunned. The Toad Sage's ability to see through time meant nothing could be hidden from him. Because Naruto had altered history, the future of this world had also shifted into the unknown. The sage warned that enemies like Otsutsuki, Momoshiki, and Kinshiki might now arrive far earlier, or much later, than their original timeline. Sweat beaded on Naruto's forehead. In his previous life, they had appeared during Boruto's era, roughly 10 to 12 years from now. If they arrived prematurely, the Shinobi world would face total annihilation. This was the massive risk of tampering with time. The sage continued, "I have seen a vision. The boy who returned from the future will decide the end of this world. Either it will ascend to a prosperity never seen before, or it will fall into absolute ruin." Naruto finally understood the staggering weight resting on his shoulders. He took the seal's key from Gerotora and, after bidding them farewell, returned to Omegakure. His next destination was now set in stone, the Falls of Truth in the Land of Lightning. With his preparations complete, Naruto arrived at the Falls of Truth alongside Orochimaru. He sat upon a stone before the cascading waters, sinking into a deep meditative state. As expected, the little Naruto of this timeline, innocent and naive, emerged from the white spray of the falls. "You hypocrite, the one who hijacked my body," he sneered. "So, you finally found the courage to face me." The older Naruto replied calmly, "Whether past or future, we are both the same Naruto Uzumaki." But the younger Naruto refused to merge. The older Naruto's methods were a direct violation of his Nindo. Even though he had gained fragments of the future memories, he still believed that if everyone stood united, any enemy could be overcome. A bitter laugh escaped the older Naruto. "I did the exact same thing in the past, and what was the result? Have you forgotten that Sasuke died in your arms? You believed people would understand one another, yet even after you became Hokage, why didn't the destruction stop? You promised Conan you would bring peace to the Hidden Rain, but in the end, that village became the headquarters for the Kara organization." The younger Naruto stood paralyzed. He had no answer. The weight of those words shattered his innocent conviction. In that moment of doubt, a third Naruto appeared, the manifestation of his true inner darkness. The biting words of Dark Naruto completely broke the younger boy's spirit. Golden chakra began to boil over from his body, and seizing the opportunity, Dark Naruto merged with the younger Naruto. Shrouded in a black mist, the golden chakra manifested into a colossal nine-tails form. It prepared a massive tailed beast bomb and launched it at the older Naruto. Naruto immediately thrust his left hand forward, using the Preta path to begin absorbing the blast. The tailed beast bomb stalled in midair, shrinking until it vanished. Seeing this, the nine-tails cloaked younger Naruto began a rapid-fire barrage of smaller, tailed beast bombs. Realizing it was impossible to absorb them all, Naruto activated his purple lightning mode and blurred away from the impact zone. As he moved, he scattered his flying Reijin kunai across the battlefield. Finding a gap, he teleported directly behind the nine-tails. However, the younger Naruto had already activated Sage mode. Sensing the older Naruto's move instantly, he lashed out backward with his golden chakra tails in a synchronized strike. The older Naruto's eyes widened. "I have to admit, I really do know my own strengths." He couldn't dodge the impact and was sent skidding across the ground. His lightning armor spared him from fatal injury, but he was now under heavy pressure. The younger Naruto had already pinpointed the locations of every flying Raijin kunai. Using tailed beast bombs, he began systematically destroying them one by one. He then created 2 nine-tails clones, and all 3 began charging massive tailed beast beast bombs with everything they had. Sweat beaded on the older Naruto's forehead. This attack will level the entire area. Without a second's delay, he launched a high-powered, long-range strike that detonated the charging bombs prematurely. Though the tailed beast bombs were incomplete, the resulting explosion centered right on the younger Naruto dealt him severe damage and caused both Ninetales clones to vanish. The golden armor of the younger Naruto's Ninetales form was now fractured and crumbling. The older Naruto sensed that the moment for a decisive counterstrike had arrived. He withdrew 9 black receivers and, with surgical precision, drove them into the golden tails of the beast, pinning them to the earth. He then blurred toward the younger Naruto at godlike speed. Panicked, the younger boy leaped out of the chakra shroud and hurled a Rasen Shuriken in a desperate defense. The older Naruto instantly dispelled the attack with Shinra Tensei and followed up with Universal Pull. The irresistible gravitational force dragged the younger Naruto toward him, but the boy refused to yield, manifesting a super big ball Rasengan mid-air. The older Naruto met him head-on, and the collision of 2 massive Rasengans shook the very foundations of the mental plane. As they touched down, the older Naruto clasped his hands, activating Chibaku Tensei. Using the younger Naruto's own Ninetales chakra as the core, he began to entomb him within a sphere of rising earth and stone. To solidify the prison, he ascended and applied the super added weight rock technique. However, the younger Naruto managed to slip through the cracks of the closing tomb by utilizing Onoki's super lightweight technique. Seeing this, a sad smile touched the older Naruto's face. He bound the Ninetales essence completely with adamantine sealing chains and walked up to his younger self. You said you hated my methods and the paths I've taken. Yet, why did you just use the lightweight technique I fought so hard to learn? The younger Naruto's face fell. His resolve was shattered. The older Naruto stepped forward and pulled him into a firm embrace. There are many things in this world beyond our control. To grow up means to keep moving forward despite the pain. Take this step, and only then will you truly become a man. Tears began to stream down the younger Naruto's face. The red tint of his eyes faded back to a clear, honest blue. He let go of his resentment and finally placed his trust in the man he would become. However, 2 consciousnesses could not inhabit one body forever. The younger Naruto chose to fade away, but his final wish was clear. No matter what Sasuke became, he had to be brought back to the right path. I promise, the older Naruto said firmly. Because he is our best friend and protect our home. Don't let that terrifying future happen again. With one final plea for the older Naruto to protect himself, the innocent boy, the original Naruto of this timeline, dissolved into fragments of pure light. The older Naruto stood alone, tears falling freely. These were tears of farewell to the innocence he could never reclaim. But the battle was far from over. Having reconciled with his past, he stood before the seal of the Ninetales. With his current power, defeating Kurama was no longer an impossibility. As the seal swung open, Kurama erupted with a deafening roar, demanding to know where the real Naruto had gone. He immediately launched a tailed beast bomb, but Naruto absorbed it effortlessly using the Preta path. Naruto had one more reason for this confrontation: to see his mother Kushina again. During the chakra tug-of-war, he intentionally allowed Kurama to gain the upper hand, as he had hoped. After a lifetime of waiting, Naruto saw Kushina standing before him. Her stern expression melted into one of pure maternal love in an instant. Decades of longing and the vast distances of time collapsed into a single, whispered word: Mom. Naruto reined in his emotions and told Kushina to wait for him just a little longer. By now, Kushina understood everything. She realized that Naruto had grown so powerful that he no longer needed his mother's protection. Naruto returned to the battlefield of his mental landscape. He unleashed his entire chakra reserves all at once. Truly, no matter what a person has endured, the bond of blood never breaks. He prepared several super big ball Rasengans in rapid succession. After a few moments of intense clashing, the Ninetales chakra was completely stripped from its body and absorbed into Naruto. Golden chakra flames flared intensely around Naruto, signaling the activation of his KCM mode. He looked over at Kurama, who appeared weak and emaciated, little more than a skeletal frame after his chakra had been pulled away. Naruto's heart ached for him, but he knew this power was strictly necessary for the war to come. After asking for Kurama's forgiveness, he resealed the cage. Kurama closed his eyes and whispered softly, "Remember this, Naruto." Naruto returned to Kushina once more. She looked at her son with a gaze that held worlds of meaning, tears shimmering in her eyes. She stepped forward and pulled him into a deep embrace. "You've suffered so much in these years, haven't you? Everything you went through. Mom saw it all." Naruto realized that she wasn't just talking about those 16 years. She was referring to the long journey of 100 years spanning 2 lifetimes. That was why this embrace felt so heavy, yet so full of peace. But the moment of happiness was fleeting. As the chakra began to fade, Kushina's form started to grow translucent. The time for parting had come. But then, Naruto said something shocking. "This time, I'm keeping Mom with me." Disbelief flickered in Kushina's eyes. Naruto reached out his hand and merged Kushina's consciousness, her thought form, into the Nine-Tails chakra he had just acquired. He could now use his own chakra to constantly nourish her consciousness, keeping her image preserved forever. Now, whenever Naruto tapped into the Nine-Tails power, he would be able to see his mother. Kushina was overwhelmed with joy. With this, the journey to Paradise Island came to an end. On the way back, Orochimaru successfully transplanted the cells of Hashirama Senju into Naruto's body. The time was finally right. Naruto was ready to step out of the lab and reveal his true, absolute power to the world. It was now time to recruit select warriors from Kabuto's army into his own team. Naruto, accompanied by Conan, moved toward Kabuto's secret hideout, but before they could reach it, the reanimated Third Raikage launched a strike with his deadliest technique, the Hell Stab. Naruto remained perfectly composed. He countered directly with his 4-feet spiral sword, slicing through and neutralizing the Raikage's hand. The warrior praised Naruto's overwhelming strength and, satisfied, willingly returned to the Pure Land. Kabuto, who was controlling him, was stunned, but a cunning smile soon returned to his face. He clasped his hands again, activating the Edo Tensei. From the rising smoke, 6 legendary warriors of the past emerged: Deidara, Kakuzu, Sasori, Hanzo, Nagato, and Uchiha Itachi. Kabuto was personally piloting Nagato, leaving him with no consciousness of his own. The people Naruto wanted for his team were all standing right there, but this wasn't going to be easy. Kabuto was incredibly shrewd. He knew Naruto possessed the Kotoamatsu Kami, which could turn enemies to his side. Since Nagato was immune to visual genjutsu, Kabuto kept Itachi in the rear and sent the others forward to die. Naruto saw through the ploy. But Kabuto didn't realize that Naruto also possessed Shisui's second eye, which he had recovered from Shimura Danzo. The question now was who to choose first, Kakuzu or Sasori. Just then, Kakuzu spoke. "That blonde kid, you're the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki from Konoha, aren't you?" A smirk played on Naruto's lips. "Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am now the leader of Amegakure and the founder of the new Akatsuki." Kakuzu let out a cold sigh. "Even an emotional brat like you has become a rebel? Truly, there is only one thing in this world worth trusting: money." Hearing this, Conan stepped forward and questioned Kakuzu about the massive fortune he had stashed in an anonymous bank. "You're dead anyway. That money will be put to better use by us." Kakuzu panicked. "How do you know about that money?" When he learned that Hidan had spilled the secret, Kakuzu screamed that he would tear Hidan's head off. Then Naruto made his offer. "Kakuzu, become the accountant for our village." He unleashed the Kotoamatsu Kami on Kakuzu, instantly severing the Edo Tensei link between him and Kabuto. "Kakuzu, work with us from now on." Kakuzu replied, "Don't get too excited. From now on, every single penny of this village will pass under my eyes, and that includes you." Naruto was baffled. Kakuzu's obsession with money was apparently stronger than even the Kotoamatsu Kami. Now, it was time for Itachi and Kisame to be partners once again. When Kabuto saw that Naruto had wasted his special eye's power on Kakuzu, he confidently sent Itachi into the field. Itachi questioned the origin of Naruto's eyes. In response, Naruto said something shocking. He told Itachi to use Amaterasu on him. Seeing the gravity in Naruto's gaze, Itachi understood his intent. His right eye shifted into the Mangekyou. As expected, the crow hidden within Naruto saw Itachi's eyes and triggered the Kotoamatsu Kami. Itachi was now completely free from Kabuto's control. Kabuto's confidence shattered as he realized the truth. This boy had Shisui's other eye hidden all along. In the midst of the chaos, Naruto retrieved Shisui's original eye from the crow perched on his shoulder. Itachi was stunned by the sight. He looked at Naruto and said, "After this, you must explain everything to me in detail, exactly what is happening here." Naruto nodded instantly and requested Itachi to handle Deidara, while he himself surged forward to deal with Nagato, who was still under Kabuto's direct control. The moment he finished speaking, Naruto activated Deep Forest Emergence. Seeing the flood of rapidly growing trees, Nagato summoned a massive bird and took to the skies. Without missing a beat, Naruto targeted Nagato's shadow with the Shadow Stake Jutsu. Nagato's movements were frozen mid-air, forcing him to abandon his summon and descend to the ground, where he used the Preta path to absorb the shadow binding. Naruto immediately countered with the violent spear technique. Countless wooden stakes pierced through Nagato's reanimated body. Following this up instantly, Naruto initiated Chibaku Tensei. The earth ruptured, and boulders began to encase Nagato, trapping him within a stone seal. All that remained was a final super added weight rock strike to end the battle. Kabuto began to panic. Through Nagato, he unleashed an Ultra Shinra Tensei, also known as the Almighty Push. The terrifying internal pressure shattered the Chibaku Tensei sphere from within. Nagato managed to break free, but the sheer force of the blast temporarily burnt out his Diva Path powers. Without his gravitational abilities, Nagato's mobility dropped, leaving him a vulnerable target for Naruto. Naruto drove black receivers directly near Nagato's Rinnegan eyes, successfully sealing his Preta path. He then used shadow imitation to seize control of Nagato's hands and forced him to weave a specific set of hand signs. These were the exact signs required to sever the contract of the Edo Tensei. With a sudden gust of wind, Nagato was permanently liberated from Kabuto's grasp. Kabuto was left frustrated. Naruto's strategies were flawless. Although Nagato was now free, he chose not to stay, deciding instead to return to the Pure Land. Seeing how powerful Naruto had become in this life, Nagato no longer felt any regret or worry for the world. Naruto's heart was heavy, but he respected the decision of his senior disciple. As Nagato began to fade, he left Naruto with his final words. Conan and Jiraiya Sensei are in your hands now. Mirroring his past life, Naruto gave a firm thumbs up with a smile, bidding Nagato farewell. Nagato finally dissolved into the air, wearing a peaceful smile. Meanwhile, on the other front, Itachi had successfully sealed Deidara using his Totsuka blade. Naruto invited Itachi back to Omegakure, and during the journey, he recounted the entire story of the future. After hearing everything, Itachi's heart was filled with a mixture of relief and sorrow. He was relieved to know that Sasuke eventually found the right path and helped save the world, but he was devastated to learn that Sasuke, Konoha, and the entire Shinobi world met such a horrific end. Naruto lowered his gaze. That is exactly why I have returned. Naruto also apologized to Itachi for resorting to hatred to push Sasuke toward greater strength. Itachi sighed, noting that he had done the same. If we are facing such a terrifying enemy, then taking a harder path is a necessity, as long as Sasuke stays on the right track. Naruto was moved by these words. For Itachi, Sasuke was more important than even Konoha itself, and admitting that required immense courage. Itachi immediately shifted the conversation to their future strategy. The future has changed. The enemy could arrive at any moment. Our victory or defeat depends entirely on how much stronger we can become before they get here. In a moment of quiet reflection, Naruto recalls a devastating fragment of the future, how Shinsui Shigaraki utilized Danzo's Nui to breach Kaguya's dimension. That fracture in space-time was the beacon that allowed Momoshiki and the other Otsutsuki to locate Earth. It was the true catalyst for the apocalypse. Hearing this, Itachi immediately devises a strategic countermeasure. He believes that if they conceal the Gozu Tenno now, years before its intended use, they might delay the Otsutsuki invasion indefinitely. Naruto is struck by Itachi's foresight. Given Itachi's deep-rooted knowledge of Anbu operations, he is the perfect man for the job. Naruto assigns a partner to the mission, Kisame Hoshigaki. A grin spreads across the Sharkman's face. Itachi-san, I never imagined we'd be hunting together again. Itachi offers a rare, subtle smile. Donning the new red-clouded robes of the new Akatsuki, the legendary duo sets out on their mission. Naruto now holds both of Shisui's eyes, but there is no time for rest. Obito, now wielding the eternal Mangekyu Sharingan, launches a sudden, ferocious assault. Naruto vanishes in a golden flash, reappearing exactly 200 meters away, a distance he calculated to be safe from a sudden Kamui warp. Obito is exponentially more powerful than their last encounter. By transplanting the eyes of Sasuke's father, Fugaku Uchiha, his ocular prowess and Kamui range have reached terrifying levels. However, Naruto has countered this by transplanting Madara's Rinnegan into the palms of his hands. Obito lunges, dual Fuma Shuriken gripped in his hands. Naruto is momentarily puzzled. Does he not fear the Kotoa Matsukami? Why a direct charge? He soon realizes the reason. The unique power of Fugaku's eyes, the Tenji flag, grants Obito near absolute immunity to all forms of genjutsu. Obito hurls both Fuma Shuriken. Naruto counters with two kunai, but the result is catastrophic. Upon collision, a massive Kamui vortex erupts in midair, and from that swirling void, an endless barrage of Kamui Shuriken begins to pour out. Naruto realizes the trap. It's an exponential attack. As long as Obito has Shuriken in his storage dimension, the onslaught will never end. Obito snarls, Conan prepared 600 billion paper bombs for me. To honor her, I have prepared 60 million Fuma Shuriken just for you. Then let's end them right here. Naruto bellows. He activates a colossal wood-style, deep forest blockade. A sea of timber surges forward. The trees act as a living shield, breaking under the shuriken only to regenerate instantly. The stalemate lasts for 30 grueling minutes. Eventually, Obito's arsenal is empty, but he has only lost his weapons. His chakra remains at full capacity. Naruto, however, has already burned through half of his reserves. Suddenly, the earth trembles as Obito's perfect Susanoo rises to its full height. Naruto counters by manifesting his wood golem. At that exact moment, Obito launches a tailed beast bomb, infused with the warping power of Kamui, directly at Naruto. Naruto unleashes the colossal wooden dragon coiled around his wood golem, sending it spiraling toward Obito's incoming tailed beast bomb. Following a cataclysmic collision, Naruto instantly manifests the adamantine ceiling chains, lashing them around the Susanoo to bind it from all sides. Without a pause, his wood golem leaps into the air, slamming the Susanoo into the earth and pinning it down with crushing force. Obito retaliates by utilizing Kamui to twist the wood golem's head clean off, but Naruto has already abandoned the construct. Diving from the heights, he uses his Rasen Shuriken sword to cleave through the Susanoo's ethereal armor. Obito slips into his intangibility mode to survive the strike, while simultaneously manifesting a pitch-black Kamui Magatama in the Susanoo's palm. Naruto's eyes narrow. He recognizes the Kamui Magatama, an unstoppable projectile that can track a target to the ends of the earth. Knowing it cannot be intercepted, he relies on flying Reimagined to teleport a safe distance away. He is puzzled as to why Obito would repeat a tactic so easily dodged, but his suspicion is short-lived. The Kamui Magatama slams into Naruto, warping him straight into the Kamui dimension. Obito grins. Finally, it's over. But a split second later, a burst of purple lightning crackles behind him. It's Naruto. Obito instinctively phases through the attack, his mind spinning. Impossible. I just watched him get pulled into my dimension. Then the truth is revealed. Moments before being warped away, Naruto used the second Tsuchikage Mu's secret fission jutsu, splitting his body into two independent entities. One half was dragged into Kamui, while the other used dustless bewildering to become completely invisible. I know your weakness better than you do. The Naruto inside the Kamui dimension roars, striking Obito's physical body from within. Outside, a massive wound suddenly tears across Obito's chest, sending blood spraying into the air. Naruto quickly collects the spilled blood into a vial and secures it. To save his own life, Obito is forced to eject the Naruto trapped inside his dimension. As the two halves of Naruto merge back into one, his chakra is fully restored. Obito realizes the gravity of his defeat. With his blood in Naruto's possession, he could be killed at any moment via a ritual. Confused as to why Naruto spared his life when he had the chance to end it, Obito vanishes into the void with one final hollow threat. Naruto exhales in relief. Obito's new ocular powers are truly terrifying. Looking ahead, Naruto decides he must master the true sage mode of Hashirama Senju. To do this, he needs the wisdom of the three great sage regions. He sets his sights on Lady Katsuyu of the Shikotsu Forest. However, as a rogue ninja, Katsuyu refuses to acknowledge him. Orochimaru intervenes with a master stroke, mentioning the name of Mito Uzumaki, the first human to ever forge a contract with Katsuyu. Using Mito's preserved cells, Naruto performs the Edo Tensei. Upon learning that Naruto is the son of her own granddaughter, Kushina, Mito Uzumaki gladly agrees to help him unlock the ultimate power. With Kabuto's guidance, Sasuke has successfully mastered the sage mode of Ryuchi Cave. The sudden surge of Senjutsu chakra fuels his arrogance, and he launches a brutal retaliatory strike against Konoha. But the moment he manifests, he is ambushed by over 20 shadows. Sasuke is stunned. How did they know exactly where I would appear? In truth, before departing for the Shikotsu forest, Naruto had dispatched a secret message to Shikaku Nara, instructing him to bolster the village's defenses. Tsunade steps forward, issuing a final warning: stand down or be erased. Sasuke merely sneers. You're nothing more than Orochimaru's level. He triggers his sage mode and unleashes Sage Art 5 Dragon Flame. Even the combined effort of dozens of elite ninjas' water walls cannot quench the rolling sea of fire. Finally, Kakashi halts the inferno with a massive mud wall. Seeing his former sensei, Sasuke ignites a Chidori infused with a heavy concentration of sage chakra. He blurs toward Kakashi at godlike speed, his hand plunging ruthlessly through Kakashi's chest, only for the body to dissolve into crackling electricity. A surge of pain flares across Sasuke's face as he realizes it was a lightning shadow clone. In that split second, Shikaku binds Sasuke with his shadow, and Rock Lee, having opened the sixth gate, delivers a bone-shattering punch. Sasuke is gravely injured, but in a grotesque display of Orochimaru-style substitution, a fresh, Pristine Sasuke emerges from the mouth of a white snake. Deciding to decapitate the leadership, he charges directly at Tsunade. The fifth Hokage fully releases her strength of 100 seal, but Sasuke swings his Susanu's massive blade in a killing blow. A deafening explosion rings out, and Sasuke's blade is stopped dead in midair. The spectators are paralyzed in shock. Standing there is the once shy and gentle Hinata. Her Tensegan eyes are fully awakened, glowing with celestial power. These eyes were a parting gift from the innocent Naruto of this timeline, who, before fading away, had entrusted Hinata with a fragment of his soul and chakra, his final shield for her protection. Kabuto, sensing a shift in the tide, orders an immediate retreat, but Sasuke's pride won't allow it. He pumps massive amounts of sage chakra into his Susanoo. The 8 ethereal snakes coiled around his armor manifest a colossal Yamata no Orochi orb and fire it directly at Hinata. Hinata's gaze is unwavering. She seeks not to kill Sasuke, but to save him from his own darkness. She counters with the Silver Wheel Rebirth Blast. The two opposing forces collide, annihilating each other in a blinding flash. Driven to madness by rage, Sasuke draws 2 titanic Susanoo blades for a final assault. Hinata instantly gathers the truth-seeking orbs floating behind her, forging them into a massive golden chakra blade. Sasuke's heart skips a beat. He crosses his twin swords above his head in a desperate block, but Hinata's golden blade slices through his perfect Susanoo from head to toe as if it were mere butter. Kabuto watches in utter disbelief. He had never imagined that such terrifying, godlike potential lay dormant within the Hyuga bloodline. Stung by a string of humiliating defeats, Sasuke's rage reaches a boiling point. He fixes his left eye on Hinata, and a colossal pillar of lightning, faster and more destructive than even the legendary Kirin, descends directly upon her delicate frame. This is the newborn power of his eternal Mangekyou, Star Copper Thunder. A scream of agony escapes Hinata as the lethal strike connects, but through the pain, she retaliates. She drives needles forged from her truth-seeking orbs directly into Sasuke's chakra points. The flow of Sasuke's chakra is instantly disrupted, causing his Susanoo to shatter like fragile glass. Seeing their opening, the elite shinobi of the leaf surge forward to finish him. Sasuke's life hangs by a thread, but at the ultimate second, Kabuto intervenes. He unleashes the Sage Art, White Rage Jutsu, creating a deafening cacophony of sound and blinding light that paralyzes the battlefield. Under the cover of this sensory blitz, he seizes Sasuke and vanishes from the village. Hinata's Tensegan has saved the leaf, but the victory is bitter. The village elders, Koharu and Homura, immediately demand that Tsunade seal Hinata's eyes, fearing such godlike power is a threat to the leaf's stability. Infuriated by their cowardice, Tsunade has the 2 elders forcibly thrown out of her office. Elsewhere, Sasuke is drowning in a sea of despair. Not only has his revenge stalled, but he has been humbled by Hinata, an opponent he never deemed a threat. Tears of helplessness fall from his eyes, but the defeat triggers a profound internal shift. He realizes he has been reckless, moving too fast without a true foundation. Seeing this newfound maturity, even Kabuto is moved to tears of relief. Simultaneously, after mastering the secrets of the 3 great sage regions, Naruto finally achieves perfect mastery over Hashirama Senju's natural freedom sage art. Mito Uzumaki watches in awe, remarking, "Your power has now transcended even Hashirama's golden era." On a storm-lashed island far out at sea, Madara Uchiha tracks down Obito. To fulfill the Eye of the Moon plan, he proposes an alliance against the growing threat of Naruto, but Obito scorns him, claiming Madara is a relic with no remaining relevance. The 2 defeated warriors begin to trade insults, their bruised egos clashing. Madara's patience finally snaps, and he exhales a majestic destroyer flame. Obito phases through the inferno with Kamui, teleporting to higher ground. Without missing a beat, Madara activates planetary devastation. A massive meteorite, large enough to blot out the moon, begins its terminal descent. Obito calmly shifts into his intangibility mode, prepared to let the mass pass through him. However, as Obito reaches the center of the falling titan, Madara uses his power to halt the meteorite's descent mid-air. Madara knows the weakness. Obito must materialize to counterattack. Now, Obito is trapped inside the solid core of the rock. The moment he becomes tangible, he will be crushed instantly. Madara applies the super lightweight rock jutsu to the meteorite through his Susanoo. The meteorite is now weightless, but its density remains lethal. By making it light, Madara Madara can now move and shift the rock to follow Obito's every movement. He simply has to wait out the 5-minute limit of Obito's Kamui. 4 minutes have passed, and Obito is clawing toward the edge of the rock. Seeing his prey near the exit, Madara drives a massive amount of chakra into the meteorite via his black receivers. Using the falling meteorite as a foundation, Madara instantly triggers planetary devastation. The entire island shatters, its remains being violently pulled toward the massive core. With a deafening roar, the meteorite's mass doubles, then triples. Obito is trapped. Despite his Kamui reaching its 5-minute limit, he is forced into a desperate struggle for survival within the crushing debris. Suddenly, Zetsu intervenes, launching a barrage of wood spikes at Madara. However, the black Zetsu, standing by Madara's side, parries the strikes effortlessly. Zetsu then escalates the assault, manifesting the Thousand's Hand technique, a force too great for black Zetsu to contain alone. Madara is forced to enter the fray personally. Using Flying Reijin, he teleports instantly to Zetsu's position, pinning him down with several black receivers. Obito sees this split-second distraction. He breaks free from the gravitational trap and manifests his Susanoo. He lunges at black Zetsu with his Susanoo blade, the 10-direction divine sword. Black Zetsu narrowly evades the strike, but Obito immediately triggers his new ocular ability, Izasagi. Time bends backward. Madara finds himself unintentionally warped back to the exact coordinate of his initial teleport, where Obito's blade is already waiting to impale his chest. Madara realizes too late that Obito's true target was never Black Zetsu. It was him. However, the body pierced by the sword is merely a wood clone. Madara's true form emerges from the ocean's surface, recognizing that neither could truly eliminate the other without jeopardizing the Eye of the Moon plan. The two Uchiha legends decide that a temporary alliance is their only path forward. But the threat has evolved. Naruto now possesses the combined legacy of the Uzumaki bloodline and Hashirama's cells. Without absolute preparation, even their combined might would fall short. They decide to bring the demonic statue of the Outer Path onto the battlefield. They successfully seal the 8 tails within the statue, exponentially increasing its destructive potential. Madara wishes to bring this total war to the Hidden Rain, but Obito, remembering his last humiliating defeat there, turns pale and flatly refuses. Instead, he dispatches a white Zetsu to deliver a formal war challenge to Naruto. The message is clear. Naruto may choose the location, but this battle is inevitable, and if he refuses, the blood of innocence will flow. Naruto selects the Wanhee Plain in the Land of Lightning as the final stage. He prepares to face the 2 greatest warriors of the Uchiha clan alone. At the absolute peak of his power, Naruto stands ready. Soon, a new and formidable alliance, Naruto, Itachi, and Kisame, arrives at the designated plain. Naruto sets one ironclad condition: Madara and Obito must never again attack the Leaf or the Rain Village. Once the pact is sealed, the sky ignites. Madara's majestic destroyer flame and Obito's Kamui gale surge toward Naruto simultaneously. Unfazed, Naruto counters with the Sage Art, Toad Oil Fireball, fueled by his massive chakra reserves. 3 oceans of fire collide, turning the heavens over the Wanhee Plain a blood-red hue. From the heart of the inferno, Madara's perfect Susanoo rises. Naruto grins. Starting with a bang, are we? Madara begins a relentless aerial assault with his Susanoo blades, utilizing the infinite energy of his Edo Tensei body to pressure Naruto. His goal is simple: exhaust Naruto's chakra and create an opening for Obito to deliver the finishing blow. Naruto utilizes the godlike speed of his Sage Mode to weave through the carnage. He remains hyper-vigilant, knowing Obito could strike from the shadows at any second. The moment he finds a blind spot in Madara's vision, Naruto instantly counters with wood style, lashing out with timber to bind Madara's Susanoo. But in that exact heartbeat, Obito teleports directly behind him. He activates Kamui, targeting Naruto's unguarded head for a terminal warp. In his 9-tails Sage Mode, Naruto can sense every drop of malice. He reacts with the lightning speed of Flying Reijin, flickering out of existence before the void can close. Obito manifests his Susanoo and fires a Kamui Magatama, locking onto Naruto's signature. Obito is certain of a hit, but Naruto no longer fears this technique. He launches his mind transfer jutsu directly at the incoming projectile. His consciousness abandons his physical form and hijacks the Kamui Magatama mid-flight. Obito is paralyzed with shock. How did I lose connection to my own attack? Madara instantly recognizes the strategy. It is the same maneuver Naruto used to seize control of his Susanoo earlier. Knowing the technique's vulnerability, Madara lunges toward Naruto's soulless, stationary body. But in the next second, the Kamui Magatama swerves in midair and begins hunting Madara instead. Retreating, Madara bellows at Obito to strike Naruto's physical shell while his spirit is displaced. As Obito moves to execute the defenseless Naruto, A terrifying crimson chakra, sharp and biting like the red habanero, erupts from Naruto's body. It is Kushina. She calls out Obito's name with a mixture of maternal love and agonizing sorrow. Obito's blade falters. His eyes tremble. That ancient familiar voice leaves him numb, unable to process how to face the woman who once treated him like family. However, even Kushina's compassion cannot fully overwrite Obito's darkness. His blade suddenly thrusts forward. A flash of red light ignites as Naruto, shielded by Kushina's chakra, reflexively dodges the strike. Obito immediately triggers his right eye's Izasagi to rewind time. Naruto is violently pulled back through space to his previous position. Sensing the danger, Naruto's soul snaps back from the Magatama into his body instantly. With the blade a mere fraction of a centimeter from his flesh, Naruto vanishes via flying Raijin. Madara berates Obito for being sluggish and wasting a perfect opening. "The warm-up is over," Madara declares. "Now we play for keeps." From a massive scroll, Madara summons 108 wood golems to carpet the battlefield. Naruto is stunned by the scale of the summon, but he immediately identifies the flaw. To command over 100 titans, Madara and Obito must remain stationary, severely limiting their own mobility. Naruto summons a massive bird and takes to the skies, diving straight toward the Uchiha duo's coordinates. Madara anticipates the move. He commands the golems to stack themselves, forming a living pyramid. The golem at the apex leaps, bringing Naruto's summon crashing down. Naruto reacts mid-fall, applying the super added weight rock jutsu to the leaping golem. Now thousands of times heavier, the titan plummets like a dying star, crushing Madara's entire formation into splinters. Refusing to yield, Madara calls down a colossal planetary devastation from the heavens. Knowing the cloud village is nearby, Madara is certain Naruto will exhaust his chakra to stop the impact. But Naruto is now a veteran of nearly a century within his subconscious. Madara's tactics are child's play to him. As the meteorite enters the atmosphere over the Wanhee Plain, Madara expected Naruto to panic, but the boy didn't flinch. Faced with his own falling titan, Madara was forced to stabilize the meteorite himself, but in a blur of gold, Naruto appeared atop the planetary devastation and applied the super added weight rock jutsu. He had already calculated the trajectory. At this altitude, the impact would not reach the cloud village, but Madara's wood golems below would be pulverized. The meteorite slammed into the earth with tectonic force, and Madara's entire golem army was crushed into splinters. Madara had to admit it. Naruto's strategic cunning now surpassed his own. "Time to play the final card," Madara declared. Their ultimate weapon was revealed, the majestic attire, demonic statue of the outer path. The Susanoo of both Madara and Obito encased the massive statue like a suit of impenetrable divine armor. Madara smiled with pride. Against this power, even Hashirama himself would be helpless. Naruto looked upon the monstrous sight, his expression turning grim. The Gedo Mazo opened its cavernous maw and launched a devastating tailed beast bomb directly at him. With the cloud village at his back, Naruto deployed a massive transportation barrier, warping the explosion thousands of miles away. He then clasped his hands, calling upon the zenith of his natural freedom sage art. From the earth rose the ultimate titan, wood style, Shinsu Senju, the veritable 1,000 armed Kanon. News arrived that Might Guy had also been reanimated, but the war between Naruto and the Uchiha duo had reached its climax. Countering the Susanoo armored statue, Naruto activated his 1,000-armed Buddha, manifesting a big ball Rasengan in every single palm. Madara was awestruck. "Magnificent, this is truly interesting." The two mountain-sized warriors collided. Thousands of Rasengan-charged fists rained from the sky like celestial lightning. As the two godlike powers clashed, it felt as if the world itself would end. A hollow silence of pure destruction followed the roar. When the smoke cleared, Naruto's Shinsu Senju still stood. Naruto leaped from the summit, delivering a focused almighty push. The Susanoo armor guarding the Gedo Mazo shattered completely. Obito's chakra was finally spent. Seizing the moment, Naruto dropped the sage art. Gate of the Great God seals upon Madara, pinning him to the crater floor. Madara let out a booming laugh. "Naruto, I, Madara, declare you the greatest and most powerful warrior I have ever faced." Naruto believed the victory was his, but Obito triggered his most forbidden ocular power. Time freeze. Within a small radius around Obito, time ground to a complete halt. The price was the light in both of his eyes. Naruto froze mid-air like a statue. Gathering his final embers of strength, Obito lunged. His blade was inches from Naruto's heart, but at the terminal second, Obito's body convulsed and he collapsed. Back in Omega Kure, Conan had activated the ritual curse through Haidan. Conan. Since Naruto had previously secured Obito's blood, Conan used it to strike from afar. Obito screamed in agony. As his eyes dimmed, time resumed its flow. With a bitter, hollow smile, he whispered, "I have, once again, lost completely." He vanished into a swirl of smoke. Simultaneously, Madara utilized Izanagi to rewrite his reality, escaping the gate seals and retreating. Madara had sacrificed an eye, but he had found the path to his true resurrection. He placed his physical remains within the King of Hell and severed his soul's connection to the reanimated shell. The spirit of Madara Uchiha was now drifting back toward its original, living body. The soul of Madara Uchiha is swallowed by the maw of the King of Hell. Moments later, the legendary Shinobi emerges, fully resurrected in a young physical body of living flesh and bone. With life restored, he immediately calculates his next move: to infiltrate the 3 great sage regions and forcibly seize the sage mode of Hashirama Senju. Meanwhile, within the Kamui dimension, Obito devises a macabre strategy to bypass the deadly ritual curse. He grafts a portion of his consciousness into a synthetic Hashirama clone, creating a perfect biological vessel. He transforms this clone into the Jinchuriki of the demonic statue, and transplants both of his original eyes into it. To sever the link to his cursed flesh, he allows Zetsu to plunge a hand directly through his own heart. Blood sprays from Obito's lips, but the physical agony is nothing compared to the eternal void left by Rin. As Obito draws his final breath, Zetsu instantly weaves the hand signs for Ito Tensei, reanimating him on the spot. Obito returns, now bound to an immortal, tireless body. The world now faces 2 pairs of Kamui Mangekyu. He designates the Hashirama-bodied clone, which carries his primary consciousness, as Toshima. To cloud Naruto's vision, they intentionally leak the news of Obito Uchiha's death. The reports of Obito's passing combined with Madara's true resurrection leave Naruto unsettled. He senses a deep, underlying conspiracy. To neutralize any unforeseen infiltration, Naruto deploys the 4 red yang formation at the village's 4 corners, encasing the entire hidden reign in an absolute, impenetrable barrier. Driven to uncover the truth, the reanimated Obito decides to infiltrate the village personally. Since his body is now an Edo Tensei construct, his intangibility no longer suffers from a time limit. However, the moment he crosses the threshold, Naruto's sensory web snags him. Bound by their previous non-aggression pact, the 2 refrain from immediate combat, standing face to face in the rain. Naruto seizes the opening to deploy his most famous weapon, the Talk no Jutsu. He tells Obito bluntly that the infinite Tsukuyomi is nothing more than a hollow lie. Obito remains skeptical, yet he finds himself listening to Naruto's logic. Naruto reveals the ultimate betrayal. The Uchiha stone tablet was altered by Black Zetsu, who is not a manifestation of Madara's will, but the living will of Kaguya Otsutsuki. The razor-sharp truth of Naruto's words leaves Obito speechless. Naruto steps forward, extending his hand with a small smile. "Let's fist bump, Obito. You'll see the truth for yourself. I never truly considered you my enemy." Obito knows this deep down. The fact that Naruto had spared his life multiple times had been a splinter in his mind for months. Obito's right hand slowly begins to rise, but just as he's about to make contact, he suddenly pulls it back. The image of Rin flashes in his mind, the haunting final moment when Kakashi's Chidori pierced her heart. "There's no hope left in this world. I won't abandon the path to the infinite dream. The next time we meet, it'll be on the battlefield." With those final words, Obito disappears into the pouring rain. Even though Naruto's words didn't completely change him, he managed to plant a seed of doubt deep in the Uchiha's heart. Their next encounter will be their last. Simultaneously, Sasuke, accompanied by Kabuto, sets out to hunt down the descendants of the Senju clan to obtain the cells needed to awaken his own Rinnegan. Since his defeat at the hands of Hinata, Sasuke has matured significantly. His arrogance has been tempered by cold reality, and his bond with Kabuto has evolved into a genuine, respectful master-disciple relationship. A bond as deep as brotherhood had now solidified between Sasuke and Kabuto. Suddenly, Kabuto's network of seeker snakes detected a massive disturbance in the distance. A look of pure terror, as if facing the god of death himself, washed over Kabuto's face. He turned to Sasuke with desperate urgency. "Naruto is coming! We have to move now!" Sasuke loathed retreating, but for the sake of the grand design, he seized the last heir of the Senju lineage and vanished instantly. A golden flash tore through the heavens, and Naruto materialized on the spot. Kabuto immediately triggered his Sage mode, sliding the protective membranes over his eyes to brace for the encounter. Naruto's objective was singular: to reclaim the final eye of Shisui Uchiha held by Kabuto. As Shisui's former disciple, obtaining that eye was the final key to stabilizing Naruto's own eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Kabuto smirked, reading the intent. "I can give you the eye, Naruto, but my price is Hinata Hyuga. Hand her over for my research." Naruto didn't utter another word. Arcs of purple lightning began to dance violently across his skin. "The price for that sentence is your life." Kabuto retaliated with inorganic reincarnation, attempting to manipulate the very terrain. But Naruto crushed the attempt with a massive deep forest blockade. Kabuto was no fool. If he was daring to stand against the current Naruto, it was because he held a terrifying trump card. That ace was none other than the reanimated Might Guy. At the sight of Guy Sensei, even Naruto's stoic gaze wavered for a fraction of a second. The ultimate collision between Naruto and the master of the 8 inner gates was about to begin. Guy wasted no time, instantly surging into the 7th gate, the Gate of Wonder. The sheer pressure of his aura caused the entire wasteland to tremble. In the blink of an eye, he was on Naruto, launching a daytime tiger. Naruto flickered away via flying Raijin, but Guy adjusted mid-air with impossible speed, firing a second daytime tiger. Naruto unsheathed his Uchiha Gunbai, manifesting a sapphire chakra shield to intercept the blast. The impact was monstrous, yet Naruto stood his ground. Guy paused, pointing a finger directly at his own heart. Kabuto had performed a specialized transplant on the reanimated body, a synthetic heart and real blood, specifically so Guy could access his final form without immediately crumbling. Crimson blood steam began to boil off Guy's skin. Naruto's expression turned deadly serious. This isn't a game anymore. Naruto unleashed his most potent form to date, Thunder God Sage mode. Might Guy lunged with the speed of a lightning strike, leaping into the air to deliver the first step of the evening elephant. Naruto found himself instantly paralyzed within a vacuum of suffocating air pressure. What incredible power! Is this what Madara felt? Within seconds, the pressure became unbearable, and Naruto was driven deep into a massive crater in the earth. Only the reinforced armor of his Thunder God mode saved him, though he felt his ribs snap under the force. But Guy wasn't finished. He gathered his momentum and launched the Evening Elephant's second step. Naruto triggered a massive electrical discharge from within, colliding head-on with the shockwave. The resulting blast was so violent it rewrote the geography for hundreds of meters around them. Naruto barely managed to halt the momentum of the air cannon. Seeing this, Might Guy began to walk on the air, kicking the atmosphere to maintain his pursuit. He put his entire weight into the third step. Naruto crossed his arms to take the hit directly, but this time he heard his bones begin to crack. Enduring the agony, Naruto used Flying Raijin to teleport directly behind Guy. Guy spun instantly, locking Naruto in his sights. Might Guy tore through the air, delivering the fourth step of the Evening Elephant. In a desperate scramble, Naruto raised his hand and activated the almighty push. The collision between Guy's localized air pressure and Naruto's repulsive force triggered a massive explosion, neutralizing both attacks. However, Naruto paid a heavy price. The strain caused him to temporarily lose his Diva Path abilities. Might Guy didn't waste a single millisecond. Gathering every ounce of his physical energy into a single fist, he lunged. Sensing death closing in, Naruto braced his Uchiha Gunbai over his head like a shield to intercept the fifth step. But Guy's power was so transcendental that the legendary fan shattered like dry leaves. Naruto refused to yield. He clenched his left fist and countered with the encompassing burst fist. Their knuckles collided, but in the end, Guy's raw physical might overwhelmed Naruto. Naruto was sent spiraling through the air, crashing into the distance. But in that mid-air moment, Naruto launched his adamantine sealing chains, snaring Guy's body. From a distance, he prepared to use the human path to rip Guy's soul from his reanimated shell. Kabuto sensed the impending seal and instantly released his white rage jutsu. The blinding flash and deafening vibration forced Naruto to retreat. Might Guy used that opening to shatter the chains with sheer brute force, crouching low to prepare for his final world-breaking move, Night Guy. Naruto remained eerily calm. He used Flying Raijin and, in a flicker, appeared right next to Kabuto, who had stepped forward to assist. With lightning-fast precision, Naruto plucked the eye of Shisui from Kabuto's left socket and delivered a bone-crushing kick to his spine. Mission accomplished, he teleported instantly back to Omegakure. Deprived of his target, the crimson steam around Guy began to subside. Finally, Naruto possessed both of Shisui's eyes. Without wasting a moment, he successfully stabilized and awakened his own eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. "It is time to bring the 4 of them back," Naruto said in a cold, authoritative tone. He entered a secret chamber with 4 white Zetsu clones and utilized the King of Hell to liberate 4 legendary souls. These were the souls of the first 4 Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. Before fully restoring them, Naruto applied the Star Copper Soul Blessing, ensuring their reanimated power would far exceed even their living prime. Orochimaru activated the Edo Tensei, and the greatest warriors in history stood once more before the world. Tobirama, the second Hokage, immediately lashed out, cursing Orochimaru for his persistent necromancy. The four legends quickly descended into bickering and nostalgia, discussing the tragedy of Sasuke. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle at the sight. Hearing his laughter, the four legends fixed their gazes upon him. Hiruzen, the third Hokage, was aghast. "Naruto, what are you doing with Orochimaru? And those Sharingan eyes? What is the meaning of this?" Naruto didn't answer immediately, simply savoring their reactions. Tobirama muttered bitterly, "Another cursed Uchiha. So, have you become Naruto Uchiha now? It seems you are still the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki." But Hashirama, the first Hokage, recognized the Uzumaki lineage instantly. Meanwhile, Minato, the fourth Hokage, felt a pang of unease. Why isn't Naruto acknowledging me? When Hashirama sensed the presence of his wife Mito Uzumaki's cells and her blessing within Naruto, he decided to place his absolute trust in the boy, trusting Mito's judgment above all. Tobirama grumbled that if the boy wasn't an Uchiha, perhaps things weren't as bad as they looked. Naruto then laid out his three primary objectives for summoning them. First, he was about to engage in a final, all-out war against Obito and Madara. Naruto's primary goal in training with the four legendary Hokage was to better understand and control the newly awakened powers of his eyes. However, the moment Obito's name was mentioned, Minato and Hiruzen both showed a noticeable reaction. Naruto also had another purpose for this meeting. He wanted the four Hokage to stand as a strong line of support and keep a close watch on the situation, especially on Madara and Sasuke during the decisive events that were about to unfold. At the mention of Madara, Hashirama and Tobirama became instantly hyper-vigilant. Naruto recounted the grim tale of Madara's true resurrection. "He will be more powerful now than he ever was in history," Naruto warned in a low, grave tone. His third objective remained shrouded in mystery. With the war looming, Naruto decided he would only reveal it once victory was secured. After a tense deliberation, the four Hokage agreed to join Naruto's cause. Meanwhile, Madara had achieved absolute mastery over Hashirama's Sage Mode. Through his own sources, he had confirmed the harrowing truth. Black Zetsu was indeed the living will of Kaguya. Realizing the infinite Tsukuyomi was a global trap, Madara's ambition shifted. He now sought to warp that false dream into a beautiful reality under his own absolute control. Madara set his sights on the hidden rain to challenge Naruto and reclaim what he believed was rightfully his Rinnegan eyes and the title of the world's undisputed strongest warrior. Back at the training grounds, Naruto concluded his sparring session with the Hokage, now a maestro of his eternal Mangekyo. The final confrontation with Obito finally commenced. With his overwhelming prowess, Naruto brought Obito to his knees, but instead of a finishing blow, he extended his hand for a fist bump. Upon contact, Naruto's torrent of memories from the previous timeline surged into Obito's mind. Witnessing the horrific, desolate end of the future world left Obito paralyzed with shock. Naruto spoke the cold truth. "This is why I chose a different path. To kill the gods that are coming, I need absolute power and allies I can trust." Humbled by the scale of his own narrow-mindedness, Obito finally accepted defeat and vowed to fight shoulder to shoulder with Naruto, but a new nightmare erupted. The Toshima clone that Obito had created was suddenly hijacked by Black Zetsu. Toshima was the Jinchuriki of the demonic statue and possessed Hashirama's cellular vitality. Obito was struck with a wave of sickening regret for his own creation. Black Zetsu, piloting the Toshima vessel, activated the mirror box, Infinity. A grotesque, two-faced titan emerged from the earth, the demonic statue on the front and the veritable 1,000-armed Conan on the back. The monstrosity began charging a localized, hyper-dense, tailed beast bomb. Black Zetsu let out a manic laugh. "Run away with your flying Raijin, Naruto, but if you do, this blast will turn the entire hidden rain into nothing but ash." Exhausted from his duel with Obito, cold sweat beaded on Naruto's forehead as he stared down the barrel of annihilation. Suddenly, the long, silent Kurama scoffed from within. "So, the great hero is finally trembling? If you apologize for your past behavior, I might consider helping you." Naruto and Kurama faced each other once more in the mental landscape. After a heavy silence, Naruto did the unthinkable. He apologized, but it wasn't for his recent actions. He apologized for failing to protect Kurama in the previous life. Kurama's ears twitched in genuine surprise. He extended his massive claw toward the bars. "Let's see just how pure that heart of yours really is." Without a second's hesitation, Naruto reached out. After half a century of waiting across 2 lifetimes, the fist bump was finally complete. As their fists collide, ripples surge across the mental lake, and countless fragments of memories flow between them. With their intentions finally confirmed, Naruto and Kurama share a genuine smile. The fox scoffs. "Why didn't you just say all this the day you came back? You really are a grade A knucklehead." The seal on the cage begins to rotate slowly, clicking open. From this moment on, they move as one. Golden chakra flames erupt around Naruto's body, manifesting the true and perfected Nine Tails chakra mode. This absolute synchronization means he can finally tap into his most advanced arsenal. Majestic armor, thundering! The Nine Tails avatar materializes in a brilliant glow, instantly reinforced by Obito's Susanoo standing as its shield. On the opposite side, the countless wooden arms of Black Toshima begin thrusting the demonic statue's tailed beast bomb toward Naruto with crushing force. With a shared gaze, Obito's Kamui carves a direct path through the web of incoming attacks. Naruto surges forward, following the trail blazed by Obito's vision. Sparks fly and lightning crackles as Naruto closes the distance to the statue. Sensing the threat, Black Toshima triggers an anti-Kamui field to collapse Obito's spatial path. As the Kamui root closes, wooden hands surge from behind to ensnare Naruto. Without a hint of fear, Naruto commands Obito to warp him into the Kamui dimension. Obito is stunned. This is Naruto's absolute unwavering trust in him. He focuses instantly, pulling the entire armored Nine Tails into his space-time void. Obito then hurls his Kamui Magatama toward the target. Since this projectile possesses the power to phase through matter, it is impossible to intercept. Obito smirks with confidence. The moment the Magatama reaches the target, a black vortex begins to spiral in reverse. Suddenly, Kurama, with a tailed beast bomb already gripped in his jaws, materializes directly in front of the demonic statue's face. Black Zetsu panics. He tries to force the statue to fire its own blast, but Kurama strikes with full force, shoving his tailed beast bomb back and detonating it inside the statue's own body. The demonic statue swells like a balloon, distorting into a sphere as the internal explosion wreaks havoc. With that, Black Toshima's ultimate jutsu collapses. Naruto and the Nine Tails immediately deliver their finishing move, the Thunder God Sword. Slash! The demonic statue is cleaved in half, from head to toe. Wailing in despair, Black Zetsu cries out, "Mother, I am coming to save you!" In a reckless final act, he funnels all of Toshima's remaining Sage Chakra into the statue, attempting to fuse its broken pieces back together. But the effort drains Toshima's life force completely. Seeing the opening, Naruto uses a summoning jutsu to bring the demonic statue under his own control. Black Zetsu has lost this war entirely. Spewing one last threat, he abandons Toshima's lifeless shell and vanishes into the shadows of the night. Toshima's body falls, cold and empty. Obito bids a final farewell to his creation and reclaims both of his original eyes. Returning to Omegakure after the battle, Naruto announces it is time to fulfill his third great promise. And then, the true master of the Kotoamatsukami, Shisui Uchiha, makes his return. Naruto begins to brief all the gathered sages and warriors about his previous battles and the true nature of the coming gods, the Otsutsuki. In that apocalyptic future war, Konohamaru sacrificed his life to shield Sasuke from a killing blow. Before Naruto's very eyes, Hinata fell into an eternal sleep. Those Otsutsuki gods barely moved a hand. A simple gesture summoned a rain of devastating needles from the heavens, turning the new generation of shinobi led by Boruto into dust. Driven to a state of primal rage, Naruto launched a world-shattering Rasengan toward the sky, but the Otsutsuki merely flicked a finger, and Naruto's ultimate attack shattered like glass, dissolving into harmless particles of light. In the final moments, Sasuke threw himself in front of a lethal strike meant for Naruto, paying the ultimate price. Naruto could only scream in helpless agony as his brother-in-arms faded away. In those closing seconds, the shinobi of the Cloud Village utilized the heavenly transfer jutsu to warp Naruto away from the carnage, ensuring that the world's final hope and the torch of the future remained unextinguished. The four Hokage stood in a paralyzed silence after witnessing this horrific vision of the future. Naruto broke the quiet. "I am a soul from that annihilated world, reborn into this era by a twist of fate. My third reason for summoning you all is so that together we can slaughter those monsters." Obito turned to Minato, seeking forgiveness for his lifetime of sins, and at last, Minato and Kushina granted him peace. Following this, Obito tracked down Kakashi and bestowed upon him his duel Kamui Mangekyu as a gift. Thus, the legendary Kakashi of the Sharingan returned, now wielding a terrifying new level of spatial power. Meanwhile, the mission led by Itachi and Kisame to locate the Nue proved successful. They captured Shinsui Shigaraki and brought him to Amegakure. Naruto worked through the night to permanently seal the dangerous Gozu Tenno within Shinsui's body. As for the boy himself, Naruto used Koto Amatsukami to guide him toward a path of righteousness. After all, in his previous life, if Sasuke hadn't intervened, Shinsui's daughter would have been Boruto's wife. Suddenly, a white Zetsu arrived with shocking news. Aburame Ryoma, an old loyalist of Danzo, had reanimated Shisui Uchiha via Edo Tensei. Upon hearing Shisui's name, Itachi immediately took responsibility for eliminating Ryoma. Orochimaru joined him on the hunt. Since both Ryoma and Orochimaru had once served under Danzo, they shared a dark history. They soon cornered Ryoma on a desolate mountain. Itachi's heart wrenched at the sight of his best friend, Shisui, in such a hollow state. Ryoma's venomous insects had completely suppressed Shisui's mind, leaving him as nothing but a mindless puppet. Witnessing this desecration of his friend's soul, Itachi's rage reached a boiling point. Quick break, legends. Don't forget to shout out your favorite epic moments below. I love reading your takes. Also, if the video is absolute fire, show some love with a super chat to keep the content coming. Let's dive back in. Enjoy. Itachi manifests his Susanoo and launches a Yasaka Magatama. As the smoke clears, it reveals Shisui has protected Ryoma with his own ethereal shield. Shisui's Emerald Susanoo retaliates, unleashing a barrage of green Magatama projectiles. Itachi instantly raises the Yata mirror, negating the onslaught. Meanwhile, Orochimaru drops to the earth and releases his Thousand Snake formation. A sea of vipers surges toward Ryoma, forcing him to keep Shisui close as a defensive wall to halt the advance. Itachi notices a crucial detail. In this reanimated state, Shisui is unable to utilize his legendary body flicker technique to its full potential. Seizing the opening, Itachi and Orochimaru launch a devastating combined assault. Orochimaru's eight-headed serpent orb merges with Itachi's Yasaka Magatama. Orochimaru dubs the attack the 3-8 Snake God Cannon. The resulting blast hurls Ryoma 30 meters backward. Shisui's green Susanoo shatters, and half of his reanimated body is blown apart. The explosion incinerates the venomous insects controlling Shisui's mind. As his reanimated body regenerates, Shisui regains his consciousness. However, his physical movements are still enslaved to Ryoma's commands. He shouts a desperate warning to his friend. Itachi, beware of my Koto Amatsukami! Itachi immediately activates the Uchiha Flame formation, trapping both himself and Shisui within an inescapable wall of fire. He then spreads the black flames of Amaterasu, systematically reducing Shisui's footing and area of movement. It is a masterclass in strategy, neutralizing Shisui's superior speed by confining the battlefield. Shisui offers a grim smile of respect for his friend's tactical brilliance, but the fight is far from over. Shisui manifests hundreds of clones. This is the true awakening of his body flicker technique. These are not mere after-images. Every single clone is solid and tangible. He warns Itachi once more. Steady yourself. Every one of my clones can trigger Koto Amatsukami. Itachi unleashes his armored Susanoo, bracing the Yata mirror in front. While his front is in absolute defense, his rear becomes vulnerable. Shisui's shadows strike from behind, cracking the Susanoo shell and lunging directly for Itachi. Itachi uses his kunai to deflect the onslaught, slowing Shisui's momentum. He half closes his eyes, focusing entirely on the vibration and rhythm of Shisui's footsteps. Shisui is stunned. You are countering my speed with your eyes nearly closed? Itachi smiles. I learned this method from Might Guy, who fought me without ever looking into my eyes. Suddenly, a swarm of crows begins to circle the sky. Itachi uses them as living conduits to spread Amaterasu. The crows dive, their bodies engulfed in black flames, landing precisely on every unburned patch of earth. By sacrificing themselves, they turn the entire barrier into a sea of black fire. Finally, only a few inches of safe ground remain where Itachi and Shisui stand. Shisui's godlike speed is now useless. He smiles from the bottom of his heart. You have become a better shinobi than I ever was. To see you again at the end, it truly feels good. But Itachi replies, our path as shinobi has only just begun. He draws the Totsuka blade, sealing Shisui temporarily so he can safely transport him back. On the other side of the battlefield, Orochimaru has defeated Ryoma, claiming his secret techniques for his own research. The stage is now set. The drums of war are sounding. The third and final battle between Naruto and Madara is about to begin. In the chaotic aftermath of the previous war between Naruto, Obito, and Madara, Sasuke attempted a stealth strike on Madara from behind. He failed miserably, and in the clash, Madara ripped away one of Sasuke's eyes. Madara then attempted to escape using the flying Raijin, but the legendary Uchiha suddenly found himself in the lightless depths of the open sea. The crushing pressure of the deep ocean is a death sentence for any shinobi. Madara realized too late that his flying Raijin marks had been manipulated. This was the genius of Tobirama, the second Hokage. Tobirama had already retrieved Madara's marked kunai and hurled it into the abyss of the ocean. The greatest warrior in history had fallen into a trap laid by his oldest rival. By a stroke of pure luck, a lone fisherman spotted him surfacing and pulled his broken body from the water. But peace was a fleeting dream. While Madara lay unconscious, a band of ruthless marauders, driven by greed for the powerful Uchiha eyes, slaughtered the entire fishing village. When Madara finally awoke to the carnage, his fury was absolute. The eye he had stolen from Sasuke reacted to his pure hatred, evolving instantly into the six-tomo Rinnegan. Thousands of miles away, Sasuke felt a violent surge in his remaining eye as it mirrored the transformation. Madara erased the invaders as if they were dust, only to discover that the massacre was orchestrated by a high-ranking advisor to the Lord of the Land of Water. Driven by vengeance, he set out to dismantle the entire Land of Water single-handedly. Naruto, realizing the catastrophic scale of the conflict, refused to stand by. He intercepted Madara, attempting to appeal to his reason, but Madara was beyond words. Without warning, the Titan of the Uchiha launched his assault. The marks of Hashirama's Sage Mode spread across Madara's face as his colossal, veritable 1,000-armed Conan tore through the earth. Naruto countered instantly, manifesting his Nine Tails mode and encasing it in the ultimate Susanoo armor. Multiple tailed beast bombs formed in the jaws of the armored Kurama, but Naruto didn't fire them immediately. Instead, he lined them up in front of him. Using a terrifying new ability of his eyes, Soul Infusion, he breathed life into the bombs. Each tailed beast bomb now possessed its own sentience and independent mind. As Madara's thousands of wooden fists rained down from the heavens, Naruto released his living bombs. The spheres skillfully navigated the gaps between the wooden strikes, weaving through the onslaught with conscious intent. Simultaneously, the Nine Tails kept up a barrage of standard tailed beast bombs to keep Madara distracted. The sentient bombs surged forward, systematically dismantling the core structure of the wooden Buddha statue. Madara quickly deciphered the strategy. Using the spiritual bow of his Susanoo, he began sniping the living bombs out of the sky with godlike precision. Within seconds, most of the 18 spheres were neutralized. Seizing the momentum, the wooden Buddha's fists hammered the armored Kurama, peeling away the Susanoo plating piece by piece. In the brutal exchange, the Buddha's arms were also shattered to splinters. Madara discarded the remnants of the statue, lunging with his Susanoo's blade for a final strike on Kurama. But at this critical junction, Naruto smiled. From the thick veil of smoke, the final living tailed beast bomb suddenly emerged. Madara spotted the threat and leapt from the head of the statue to evade the blast. But Naruto was faster. He triggered the flying Raijin, appearing instantly to catch the final bomb in his hand. Lunging through the air, he slammed the tailed beast bomb directly into the chest of Madara's Susanoo. The sentient tailed beast bomb finally breached the absolute defense of Madara's Susanoo, detonating within the core. The ethereal armor shattered into fragments of light. Acting on instinct, Madara utilized the Preta path to absorb the residual blast, but the cost was absolute. He had exhausted every drop of his sage chakra. Naruto stood across from him, barely winded. He had relied solely on Kurama's reserves, leaving his own vast chakra pool completely untouched. Suddenly, Madara swung his legendary scythe through the air, activating the heavenly command. Without any physical tether, Naruto was violently yanked directly toward Madara. However, Naruto anticipated the pull, weaving through Madara's lethal follow-up strike with surgical precision. Madara stood frozen in disbelief. He didn't realize that Naruto was already intimately familiar with the mechanics of the heavenly command. Capitalizing on the opening, Naruto delivered a devastating uppercut that connected squarely with Madara's jaw. The legend had fallen once again. This time, as he rose, Madara's eyes held nothing but profound respect for the young warrior. The two titans sat together on the scorched earth. Naruto finally convinced Madara to abandon his crusade against the Land of Water. In the end, Madara agreed to hunt down only the true mastermind behind the massacre. To seal their pact, Naruto made a vow. Once he awakened his own Rinnegan, he would return Madara's original eyes to him, provided Madara returned Sasuke's eye in exchange. The deal was struck, and the Uchiha legend departed into the shadows alone. At long last, the future Naruto and Hinata were reunited. However, the timeline had shifted. Toneri Otsutsuki, who wasn't supposed to arrive for another 2 years, descended upon Earth ahead of schedule. Under the manipulation of Black Zetsu, who promised him the ultimate power of the Tenseigan, Toneri kidnapped Hinata's sister, Hanabi. Black Zetsu's true goal remained the same, using Toneri to liberate Kaguya's physical vessel from the moon. Hinata was no longer the defenseless girl of the past. Having seen Naruto's memories, she understood Toneri's threat perfectly. She set out for the moon alone to rescue her sister, but when she arrived, she stopped in her tracks. Naruto was already there, leaning against a lunar crag. He could never let her face such a godlike threat alone. Sharing a silent smile, they clasped hands and marched forward to end Toneri's reign. Witnessing his rival's arrival, Toneri instantly surged into his Tenseigan chakra mode. He launched a barrage of truth-seeking orbs at the pair. Hand in hand, Naruto and Hinata navigated the projectiles with effortless grace. Driven to a frenzy, Toneri unleashed the Silver Wheel Rebirth Blast, but Hinata countered with the exact same technique, cleaving his attack in half. Attack after attack was neutralized. In a final desperate move, Toneri swung the Golden Wheel Rebirth Blast, a blade of light capable of splitting worlds, but Naruto caught and halted the strike with his bare hand. Toneri, who relied solely on overwhelming power rather than refined skill, was no match for the combined synergy of the fated pair. Under their relentless dual assault, he collapsed, and his glowing Tenseigan faded back into standard Byakugan. Hinata successfully retrieved Hanabi's eyes, but she didn't stop there. She also seized the massive giant Tenseigan energy core, bringing its power back to Earth. Upon their return, Naruto made a life-altering decision. He proposed to Hinata, and under the blessings of their allies, the two were wed in a magnificent ceremony in the Hidden Rain. 2 weeks after the wedding, the peace was cut short. Naruto set his sights on his next destination, Ryuchi Cave. His goal was clear. He needed to obtain a fragment of Indra Otsutsuki's bloodline to complete his evolution. Just as peace seemed within reach, Kabuto launched a sudden, catastrophic assault on the Hidden Rain. With an army of 20,000 Might Guy clones following his split from Sasuke, Kabuto was determined to prove his absolute supremacy through this Green Beast army. Realizing the village was under threat, Naruto was forced to postpone his quest and take command of the defenses. The mission to retrieve the blood of Indra Otsutsuki was handed over to Orochimaru. Meanwhile, the most powerful warriors of the Hidden Rain gathered at the gates to face the incoming storm. Fortunately, these clones were unable to open the 8th gate, but the sight was still terrifying. 300 clones simultaneously unleashed the 6th gate, saturating the sky with a barrage of the morning peacock. Hashirama instantly summoned the ninefold Rashomon, but the intense rain of fire incinerated the legendary gates in seconds. Naruto activated his armored Susanoo, firing continuous Magatama to intercept the wave of flames. The exertion of the attack left the 300 clones weakened, and Naruto seized the moment, using the claws of the underworld to drag them deep beneath the earth. Seeing the failure of the vanguard, Kabuto commanded 3,000 clones to open the 6th gate. Hashirama responded by manifesting the veritable 1,000-armed Conan. A titanic war erupted in the heavens between the Buddha's 1,000 fists and the 3,000 morning peacock blasts. However, the sheer numbers were overwhelming, and even Hashirama began to struggle to contain the onslaught. Naruto and Minato joined the fray, firing a relentless stream of tailed beast bombs to neutralize the remaining projectiles. Naruto then lunged at the exhausted clones with the full power of his armored Kurama, wiping out another 3,000 in a matter of minutes. Finally, Kabuto revealed his true hand, ordering 6,000 clones to open the 7th gate simultaneously. 6,000 daytime tigers were launched at once. Naruto countered with an almighty push, but the atmospheric pressure was so immense it only held the line for 3 seconds. Hashirama deployed his 1,000-armed statue once more, burying the arms deep into the earth to form an immovable physical shield against the 6,000 shockwaves. Through a combined effort of the world's elite ninjutsu, the defenders finally halted the surge. For these clones, accessing the 7th gate was as lethal as the 8th. It was a suicide mission. Half of the 20,000-man army lay decimated. But then, Kabuto took a step into true madness. He used the remaining 10,000 clones as a massive sacrificial ritual, using the Edo Tensei to instantly reanimate the 10,000 fallen clones. Every shinobi on the battlefield was paralyzed with dread. Kabuto laughed maniacally. "This is true art!" As hope began to fade for the others, Naruto's gaze remained cold and unshakable. He activated a super expansion jutsu while in his his Nine Tails mode. Kurama's form swelled to a colossal scale, rivaling the height of Hashirama's Buddha statue. Using this massive silhouette, Naruto activated the shadow imitation jutsu. In a single motion, he locked 4,000 reanimated Guy clones in place. Kabuto, snarling at the counter, ordered the remaining clones to strike down the 4,000 immobilized ones. Under Hashirama's command, the Shinobi forces rallied to the front lines, buying precious time for Naruto. Naruto's objective was to seize control of the reanimated Guy clones using his shadow. By overriding the connection, he could liberate them from Kabuto's grasp. The gambit worked. Freed from their master's will, the clones turned their fury against the remaining 6,000 enemy constructs, sparking a civil war among the green beasts. Naruto then signaled to Hinata, who stood ready at his side. She unleashed a devastating golden wheel rebirth blast. The beam of light cleaved through the sea, carving a direct, unobstructed path toward the enemy's rear. Moving with the speed of a lightning strike, Naruto blurred across the path, appearing instantly before Kabuto. Exhausted from maintaining such a massive reanimation jutsu, Kabuto's chakra reserves were completely spent. Facing a defenseless Kabuto, Naruto instantly activated the Kotoa Matsukami. Whether for Sasuke's sake or the survival of the future, Kabuto's brilliant calculating mind was a resource Naruto could not afford to lose. With a single ocular command, the horrific slaughter was halted. However, elsewhere, the tide was turning toward a darker age. Orochimaru and Black Zetsu had successfully secured the DNA of Indra Otsutsuki. Now, history's most vengeful warrior was about to enter the fray. The greatest threat of the era had finally manifested. Orochimaru utilized Indra's blood to perform the Edo Tensei, bringing the founder of the Uchiha clan back to the land of the living. Manipulated by Black Zetsu's whispers, Indra resolved to implement the infinite Tsukuyomi, seeking to uproot and destroy the very shinobi world his father, the Sage of Six Paths, had built. But Indra required a living, physical vessel to reach his full potential. His sights fell upon Sasuke, the only one capable of performing the Rinne rebirth. At that moment, Sasuke was on a solitary journey of self-discovery. Witnessing the dark, discriminatory laws of the Land of Lightning, he decided to become the judge and executioner for the oppressed. His methods were brutal. He began a systematic purge of the corrupt aristocracy. He vowed not to stop until the discriminatory system of the Land of Lightning was reduced to ash. In just 7 days, Sasuke's lightning-fast strikes eliminated hundreds of corrupt nobles. Finally, he set his sights on the daimyo's palace itself. His path was blocked by the 4th Raikage. After 6 months of grueling training, the Raikage's chakra had surpassed even that of Killer Bee. He lunged at Sasuke with the force of a hurricane. Sasuke attempted to bind him with wood style, but the Raikage charged through the timber like an unrestrained bull, his absolute defense rendering the wood style useless. Sasuke leapt back, launching a great dragon fire jutsu. The Raikage didn't flinch. He tore through the flames with his bare hands. Realizing the Raikage was a formidable obstacle, Sasuke attempted to retreat, only to fall into a pre-laid trap. Showing no mercy, the Raikage drove his hell stab, the one-finger spear, directly through Sasuke's chest. But even as blood spilled, Sasuke smiled, activating a new ability of his Rinnegan, Heavenly Reverse. The world shifted. The Raikage gasped in horror as the fatal wound on Sasuke's chest was instantaneously transferred to his own body. It was the unique power of Sasuke's right eye, the ability to swap physical damage between two combatants. Sasuke sneered, his voice cold. The title of Raikage is nothing compared to the pride of the Uchiha. Leaving the wounded leader behind, he entered the palace and dismantled the corrupt regime. Meanwhile, back in the Hidden Rain, Naruto initiated his backup plan to secure the biological essence of Indra Otsutsuki. To achieve this, he had to subjugate the legendary nine-headed Hydra, a beast that Indra himself had slain in ancient times. Entering the reincarnation realm alongside Hinata and Conan, they not only brought the Hydra under their heel, but also forged contracts with the golden-eyed cicada and the Monkey King Enma. Upon their return, Orochimaru successfully extracted Indra's ancient DNA from the venomous fangs of the Hydra. All the conditions for Naruto to awaken his own Rinnegan were finally met. But before the victory could be savored, Conan arrived with dire news. Sasuke had completely leveled the daimyo's palace in the Land of Lightning. Naruto felt a chill down his spine. The storm was finally making landfall. Meanwhile, Indra and Black Zetsu tracked Sasuke down amidst the ruins. Sasuke stood frozen, staring at the ancient power radiating from Indra's Sharingan. When he demanded to know who this stranger was, Black Zetsu hissed with malice, "Do you not recognize your own ancestor?" Indra introduced himself with cold authority and made a singular, chilling demand. Sasuke was to perform the Rin rebirth to restore Indra to a living body. Sasuke erupted into a mocking laugh. "Ancient trash! Don't come here just to embarrass yourself." He instantly surged into his Ryuchi Uchi Cave Sage mode, infusing his perfect Susanoo with Senjutsu chakra. In response, Indra manifested his own colossal Susanoo. Two mountain-sized titans now stood face to face, casting long shadows over the land of lightning. Sasuke was filled with contempt. Bolstered by his sage chakra, he believed he was fundamentally superior to the ghost of the past. While Indra's reanimated shell couldn't store sage chakra within the Susanoo, he was a master of channeling sage arts through it. Indra's Susanoo clasped its hands together, and the natural energy of the entire region began to boil. The scale of the chakra was so immense that Naruto and Madara, both masters of sensing, felt the atmospheric shift from hundreds of miles away. By this time, both of Naruto's eyes had fully evolved into the double six Tomo Rinnegan. He flickered to Madara's side with godlike speed, his voice urgent. "We have to get to the land of lightning now. If we're a second late, Sasuke is a dead man." Back on the battlefield, Indra's Susanoo began to warp and expand under the crushing pressure of the natural energy it was drawing in. Cold sweat beaded on Sasuke's forehead. How can the gap in power be this wide? Indra then unleashed his ultimate trump card, the Six Paths Indra Avatar. Sasuke's perfect Susanoo was pulverized instantly, shattering like fragile glass. Sasuke's physical body plummeted into the marsh below, nearly every bone in his frame shattered by the impact. But Sasuke hadn't surrendered. He was waiting for Indra to step into the range of his vision so he could trigger the heavenly reverse and transfer his broken state to the ancestor. But before he could focus, a viscous black fluid erupted from his neck, spreading across his skin. It was Black Zetsu's black cocoon jutsu. Paralyzed and unable to move even a finger, Sasuke could only watch as Zetsu hijacked his body to begin the incantation for the Rinne rebirth. The ritual was a success. Indra Otsutsuki was fully resurrected into a body of living flesh, having been drained of every drop of chakra to fuel the revival. Sasuke lay broken and empty. Now, standing before the heir of the Uchiha, there was nothing left but the shadow of death. Indra sensed two massive chakra signatures closing in at terminal velocity. Lacking his own Rinnegan and not wanting to risk a premature battle in a new body, he and Black Zetsu made a swift retreat. Moments later, Naruto and Madara touched down. Seeing Sasuke lying lifeless on the scorched earth, Naruto's heart plummeted. Without wasting a millisecond, Naruto initiated the reanimation jutsu, the same forbidden technique once used to restore Gaara. By sacrificing 50 years of his own life force, Naruto pulled Sasuke back from the brink of death. Keeping his end of the bargain, Naruto then returned the Rinnegan eyes hidden in his palms to Madara. In exchange, a satisfied Madara handed over Sasuke's stolen Rinnegan. Naruto successfully transplanted the eye back into Sasuke and told Madara to wait at their designated rendezvous point. He then flew back to the hidden rain with the unconscious Sasuke. With his brother-in-arms stabilized, the time had finally come for the ultimate war against a fully restored Madara Uchiha. Both Naruto and Madara were now wielders of Six Paths power. This battle would decide the true savior of the future. Madara wasted no time, activating Limbo, Hengoku with his Rinnegan. Naruto flickered with godlike speed, narrowly evading an invisible strike. Thanks to his own Rinnegan, he could clearly see the four invisible shadows prowling the battlefield. Madara manifested 4 Limbo clones from both eyes, unleashing a rain of invisible blows. Naruto was forced into a high-speed defensive struggle, parrying the phantom strikes. Seeing an opening, Madara launched a gracious deity gate. Naruto's right Rinnegan flared, and the massive gate vanished into thin air before it could pin him. Naruto drew a flying Raijin kunai, and a split second later, an identical kunai manifested behind Madara's head. Madara couldn't react in time. Naruto teleported and delivered a thunderous kick that sent the Uchiha legend crashing into the dirt. This was the unique power of Naruto's Rinnegan, Omonushi. His left eye could copy any object or chakra, while his right eye acted as the polar opposite. It could erase any non-living matter from existence. Madara quickly realized the danger. If Naruto synchronized both eyes, the destruction would be absolute. Naruto's gaze intensified. Without warning, a massive mountain manifested directly above Madara's head. Stunned, Madara narrowly escaped by swapping places with one of his Limbo clones at the terminal second. Now, Madara understood the true scale of Naruto's evolution. The warm-up is over, he declared. He called down multiple planetary devastations from the atmosphere. Naruto entered his Nine Tails mode and formed a single-tailed beast bomb. Using his left eye to copy that bomb as a blueprint, he manifested thousands of tailed beast bombs and launched them at the heavens. The meteorites were vaporized in mid-air, but Madara was cunning. He triggered the detonation of the original bomb while it was still near Kurama's jaws. Naruto's Nine Tails avatar was brutally mangled in the blast. As the smoke cleared, Naruto stared in disbelief. Not only was Madara's perfect Susanoo standing tall, but all 4 of his limbo clones had manifested their own perfect Susanoo alongside him. This was the ultimate test for Naruto. Without the proper application of Six Paths chakra, his standard physical attacks were passing right through Madara's limbo shadows, yet those clones struck back with the same world-shattering force as Madara himself. The synchronized strikes from the 5 Susanoo blades were carving the very foundation of the Valley of the End into a wasteland. To bolster his speed and defense, Naruto surged into his armored Thunder God mode, but the impenetrable layers of the limbo defense remained a nightmare to breach. Stealing his resolve, Naruto clasped his hands together, manifesting a high-density gravity sphere of Chibaku Tensei. Using the Omanushi ability of his left eye, he applied a massive copy multiplication to the core. In a matter of seconds, hundreds of gravity cores saturated a 300-meter radius. The resulting gravitational tidal wave tore the earth from its roots, pulling everything toward the sky. Madara let out a roar of adrenaline, but even he couldn't resist the absolute pull, finding himself encased and sealed within a massive floating sphere of stone. Naruto's focus shifted instantly to the 4 limbo clones standing guard below. He knew Madara would inevitably swap places with one of them to escape the seal. Anticipating the move, Naruto manifested 3 clones of his own and launched a simultaneous 4-pronged assault. Exactly as predicted, Madara swapped with a shadow, but he reappeared only to find Naruto's spiral sword already mid-thrust, impaling his left shoulder. Gritting his teeth against the pain, Madara unleashed an almighty push to clear the area. With his limbo clones nearing their time limit, Madara desperately channeled his remaining energy into the veritable 1,000-armed Kanon. Thousands of wooden fists descended like a meteor shower. Naruto signaled Kurama to prepare a final hypercharged tailed beast bomb, infusing it with the razor-sharp edge of his Shigui blade. Using his left eye, he multiplied the infused projectile thousands of times over and fired. The sheer volume of the counterattack pulverized Madara's Buddha statue. In the final second before the limbo shadows could cycle back, Naruto used the flying Raijin to appear inches from Madara's face, resting a cold kunai against his throat. Madara stood silent. The battle was over. With the dignity of a true warrior, he accepted his defeat. Following the duel, Naruto laid everything bare, revealing his identity as a traveler from a destroyed future. Upon hearing of the threat posed by the Otsutsuki clan, Madara agreed to form an alliance, though his pride prevented him from officially joining the Hidden Rain village. Meanwhile, a darker power was rising. Indra Otsutsuki located the biological remains of his brother Asura within the Shinra cave. After reanimating Asura via Edo Tensei, Indra utilized a forbidden art, 6 Paths Dark Absorption, to forcibly drain every drop of Asura's power. By merging their ancestral essences, Indra successfully awakened the double 6 Tomo Rinnegan. Now, he only lacked the 10 tails to achieve the perfected 6 Paths state. After Indra's departure, Obito arrived at the cave and liberated the sealed Asura. Back in Omegakure, Naruto had finally earned the absolute trust of all the tailed beasts sealed within the demonic statue. One by one, they bestowed fragments of their chakra upon him. With their cooperation, Naruto officially mastered the 6 Paths Sage Mode, the singular power capable of standing against Indra. Drawing upon the agony and experience of his previous life, he achieved perfect mastery over Yin and Yang release. Even without becoming the 10 Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto had reached the absolute peak of mortal potential. Suddenly, within the medical wing, the comatose Sasuke began to stir. Within the deepest reaches of his consciousness, Sasuke stood before the Sage of 6 Paths, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. However, the sage was deeply troubled by Naruto's endgame. Specifically, his intent to ally with Kaguya Otsutsuki. Driven by the fear of his mother's return, Hagoromo bestowed both the yin and yang powers upon Sasuke. He charged Sasuke with a desperate mission: persuade Naruto to abandon his plan to liberate Kaguya, and if he refused, use the ultimate power of the sun and moon to seal Naruto away forever. Sasuke accepted the sage's power with a heavy heart. Simultaneously, back in Omegakure, the demonic statue suddenly vanished in a plume of white smoke. The signal was unmistakable. Indra Otsutsuki had initiated the final ritual to revive the Ten Tails. Naruto immediately summoned a war council. To bring the Ten Tails to its complete form, Indra only lacked the chakra of the Nine Tails. Naruto then made a strategic gamble that left his allies speechless. He requested his father, Minato, to surrender himself to Indra so that the Yin Kurama sealed within him could be absorbed. At the same time, he ordered Conan to broadcast a message to the 5 great shinobi nations. If they wish to escape the eternal hell of the infinite Tsukuyomi, they must mobilize and converge on the hidden rain immediately. The truth of Naruto's origins was about to be laid bare before the world. Meanwhile, Sasuke finally regained consciousness. He confronted Naruto directly, stating his absolute opposition to Kaguya's resurrection. Naruto realized instantly that Sasuke had communed with the Sage of Six Paths. The two brothers-in-arms found themselves standing at the Valley of the End once more. Sasuke knew Naruto was a traveler from the future, but he had yet to feel the weight of those years. Naruto remained unmoved. His resolve to free Kaguya was non-negotiable. A titanic clash erupted, but this was no longer a battle of hatred. It was the ultimate spar between brothers. Finally, Naruto extended his hand, and Sasuke steeled himself for the fist bump. The moment their knuckles met, the memories of the previous timeline flooded Sasuke's mind like a tidal wave. He saw fragments of a life he had never lived, yet they felt hauntingly familiar. Sasuke's eyes trembled with shock. He realized that while memories could be manipulated, the raw agony and profound emotions etched into those visions were undeniably real. Shame washed over Sasuke as he realized the magnitude of Naruto's burden. "While you were carrying the weight of a dying world on your shoulders and fighting a lonely war against fate," Sasuke whispered, "I was acting like a fool, obsessed only with proving my superiority by defeating you. Naruto, I have utterly lost." Naruto offered a small smile before tears finally broke through. He knew at that moment that his Sasuke, the comrade who would follow him to the very gates of death, was finally back. In the 5 nations, the message from the hidden rain sparked a global panic. The mentions of Indra Otsutsuki and the Ten Tails sent shockwaves through the leadership. Without a second's hesitation, every village dispatched their elite forces toward the hidden rain to join the final alliance. In a dark corner of the world, Indra successfully sealed Minato's Yin Kurama into the demonic statue. The preparation for the Ten Tails rebirth was complete. The world held its breath, waiting for the monster to open its eye. Though Minato had come willingly to facilitate the plan, Indra's cold heart remained unchanged. He still intended to erase the 4th Hokage from existence. A terrifying glint flashed in Indra's eyes. Moving faster than even Minato's lightning speed, he launched a concentrated bolt of electricity that struck the 4th Hokage directly. The shock paralyzed Minato's entire nervous system, rendering him unable to weave the signs for flying Raijin. Indra lunged forward, closing in for the kill. Minato braced for the end, but at the absolute last second, a Kamui blast wave wild dance spiraled toward Indra. Obito had arrived just in time to intercept the strike, accompanied by Asura Otsutsuki, whom Obito had successfully liberated. Asura wasted no time. He manifested his colossal, veritable 1,000-armed Kanon and launched a direct assault on the demonic statue, believing that destroying the vessel now would shatter Indra's endgame. However, Indra countered with his left eye's unique power, the flow of wood flowers. In a horrific display, the life force of Asura's massive Buddha avatar was instantly siphoned away, turning the legendary construct into brittle deadwood that crumbled before the statue. Indra ordered Black Zetsu to ensnare the weakened Asura while he turned his predatory gaze toward Obito. He knew the Kamui was the greatest tactical threat to his ascension and sought to eliminate it immediately. Minato and Obito could have fled using teleportation, but they stood their ground, desperately buying every second possible for the allied shinobi forces to assemble at the hidden rain. Indra surged forward, a massive soul shock sword forming in his hand. Asura screamed a warning to Obito. He must not attempt to phase through this particular weapon, for its edge struck directly at the soul, ignoring physical intangibility. Indra, a master of exploiting human empathy, suddenly shifted his aim mid-swing, targeting the defenseless and paralyzed Minato instead. Minato tried to move, but a hidden genjutsu Indra had layered into the air took hold. He was frozen. As the soul-slaying blade was inches from piercing Minato's chest, Obito threw away all regard for his own safety. He threw himself in front of his former sensei, acting as a human shield. The soul-shattering blade tore straight through Obito's chest. Indra smirked cruelly. "Finally, I have found your weakness." Obito let out a blood-curdling scream. The agony of a direct strike to the soul was beyond mortal endurance. But just as Indra began to pull Obito's soul from his body, Asura erupted with a surge of ancestral power. He shattered Black Zetsu's binding and, in a single blurring strike, severed Indra's entire left arm. The blow also broke the genjutsu holding Minato. Reacting instantly, Minato grabbed both Obito and Asura, vanishing via flying Raijin back to the hidden rain. Indra stepped back, his face a mask of cold fury. He chose not to pursue, confident that the wound to Obito's soul was a terminal one from which he would never recover. Upon reaching the hidden rain, and Obito collapsed, his consciousness fading as his reanimated form began to crumble and disintegrate. Panic seized Minato, but Asura intervened with a desperate, high-stakes gamble. He took the spiritual essence of Indra's severed arm and fused it with the soul of his own right arm, driving both into Obito's failing body. It was a dangerous ritual that risked erasing Obito's personality, but it was the only way to anchor his soul to the world. And in that very moment, the world trembled. The 10 Tails had fully awakened. Indra Otsutsuki ascended, becoming the most powerful 10 Tails Jinchuriki in history. The 5th Great Shinobi War had finally begun. Indra did not merely seize the power of the 10 Tails, he took root in the earth itself by planting the God Tree. High in the mountains, Madara felt the seismic shift in chakra, the birth of a new 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Looking down into the valley, he spotted a squad of hidden leaf shinobi racing toward the horizon. Like a bolt of black lightning, Madara descended, blocking their path with absolute authority. In a voice that brooked no defiance, he demanded their destination. Kakashi, knowing the pact between Naruto and the Uchiha legend, revealed the truth. The entire Hidden Leaf was migrating to the Hidden Rain to form a final stand against the Jinchuriki. Madara smirked, recognizing Naruto's hand in this global chess game. Driven by his own pride, he decided to test the limits of this new Six Paths god himself. Kakashi was forced to accompany him, not by choice, but because the shadow of Madara's presence left no room for refusal. Indra, standing miles away, scanned the horizon and locked onto their signatures. Kakashi immediately activated the new power in his left eye, Battle Simulation. This unique dojutsu allowed Kakashi to run a high-speed mental simulation against his opponent. In a matter of seconds, Kakashi and Indra fought 100 imaginary battles within the mental realm. As the simulations ended, Kakashi broke into a cold sweat. He shouted a frantic warning. "Madara, be careful. His left eye can drain your life force from a distance." As for Indra's right eye, Kakashi knew nothing. He hadn't survived a single simulation long enough to see Indra even reveal its power. Indra formed a hand sign with 2 fingers, launching a massive 10 Tails beast bomb. Madara countered with the majestic destroyer flame, meeting the sphere head-on and using the sheer pressure of his fire to deflect the projectile's trajectory. Indra let out a chilling chuckle. "I expected no less from my reincarnation." With a step forward, Indra triggered his right eye, unleashing Amaterasu fireballs. Instantly, the ground was transformed into a churning ocean of black flames, making it impossible for Madara and Kakashi to close the distance. Madara retaliated by pulling a heavy meteor from the atmosphere. Kakashi screamed, "If that lands, we're all dead!" But Indra simply manifested colossal wooden hands through his wood style, catching the mountain-sized meteorite in midair. He then spun his six-path staff, calling down black lightning from the heavens directly onto their location. The strike was too fast for even Madara to evade. Fortunately, Kakashi grabbed him and used the intangibility of his Kamui to let the lightning pass through them harmlessly. Facing a monster of this caliber, Madara realized that even his legendary ego had to make room for teamwork. But the reprieve was short-lived, for standing before them now was the Six Paths' perfect Susanoo. Madara laughed like a madman. "This is the war I've been waiting for." He and his Limbo clones manifested their own Susanoo fleet, keeping Kakashi within the safety of his central core. Indra swung his gargantuan blade, and in a single, effortless arc, 3 of Madara's Limbo Susanoos were shattered into dust. As Indra's blade lunged toward the 4th, Madara swapped places with the shadow at the terminal 2nd, firmly grabbing the wrist of Indra's Susanoo. Kakashi seized the opening, focusing his Kamui on the forehead of Indra's avatar to tear a hole in its defense. Madara's Rinnegan flared, and a Limbo clone blurred through the breach, infiltrating the Susanoo's interior. The Limbo clone struck Indra with a direct blow, hurling him out of his own Susanoo. Indra didn't grow angry. Instead, he smiled with the thrill of the hunt. He took remote control of his Susanoo from a distance and drove its massive sword straight through the forehead of Madara's Susanoo. Madara's Susanoo shattered into fragments of light, but thanks to Kakashi's synchronized Kamui ability, both managed to phase through the terminal impact. In the heat of the moment, Madara devised a high-stakes strategy. He manifested his Susanoo once more, but this time he placed Kakashi firmly in its palm. The Avatar's wings unfurled, and they rocketed toward the heavens. Madara began swapping places with his Limbo clones at high frequency, creating a chaotic movement pattern to baffle Indra's tracking. As they closed the gap, Madara gathered all his strength and hurled Kakashi like a projectile toward the forehead of Indra's Susanoo. Indra focused his entire attention on the approaching shinobi, sneering, "The same old trick. I won't be made a fool of twice. He launched his floating truth-seeking orbs at the target, but they passed harmlessly through Kakashi's frame. Having remained in a constant state of intangibility, Kakashi breached the Susanu's defensive layer and reached his hand directly toward Indra's throat. Indra panicked for a split second. He swung his six-path staff to strike, but the weapon swept through Kakashi's chest as if hitting smoke. With lightning speed, Kakashi's hand solidified, gripping Indra's arm as he activated Kamui with both eyes simultaneously. It seemed like the end was near, but at the absolute last moment, Indra made a gruesome choice. He severed his own left arm to break the contact and leaped back from the Kamui vortex. The massive strain on his eyes forced Kakashi to his knees inside the Susanu shell. A bitter thought crossed his mind. If Obito were here today, he would have succeeded. I am still too slow. Madara utilized a limbo clone to warp Kakashi back to safety. Indra smiled with predatory cruelty. This was quite the entertainment before the infinite Tsukuyomi begins. I am impressed, but the performance ends now. His left eye locked onto Kakashi, releasing the life-draining flow of wood flowers. Madara sensed the lethal nature of the jutsu and instantly swapped places with a shadow to act as a human shield. The moment the technique touched him, Madara's body began to age rapidly. His jet-black hair turned snowy white in a matter of seconds. Horrified by the sight, Kakashi immediately absorbed the weakened Madara into the Kamui dimension. Just as Indra prepared for the finishing blow, the Ten-Tails suddenly drove its roots deep into the earth, beginning its final transformation into the colossal god tree. Indra's eyes widened at the magnificent sight. A white Zetsu seized the distraction, spiriting Kakashi away from the epicenter. Indra no longer cared about these minor shinobi. The source of ultimate immortality was manifesting right before him. The infinite Tsukuyomi was finally at hand. Meanwhile, Naruto and Sasuke finally touched down in the hidden rain. They faced an impossible dilemma. How could they protect the thousands of gathered shinobi from the moon's blinding light? While the Susanoo of a six-tomo Rinnegan wielder could block the rays, Naruto and Sasuke alone could not cover an entire army. At that critical moment, the unconscious Obito suddenly bolted upright. His eyes were no longer the Mangekyou. They had evolved into the six-tomo Rinnegan. Tobirama stood in shock. How can the eyes of a reanimated corpse continue to evolve? Obito himself was dazed by the transformation. It was the result of the ritual performed by Asura, who had fused the spiritual essences of both himself and Indra into Obito's soul to save him. The alliance erupted in cheers. They now had 3 pairs of Rinnegan on their side. The balance of power had finally shifted. They now possessed enough Rinnegan strength to challenge the infinite Tsukuyomi. Suddenly, Obito spoke with a grim spark in his eyes. Actually, we might have 4 pairs. He used his Kamui to pull a battered Madara Uchiha back into the physical realm. The desperate brush with death had triggered a final evolution. The face of Hashirama on Madara's chest had vanished, meaning the Senju cells had finally reached a state of perfect biological harmony with Madara's own DNA. The life force stolen by Indra's flow of wood flowers had not only returned, but Madara's Rinnegan had fully matured, manifesting the legendary Tomoe patterns. Simultaneously, across the battlefield, Indra successfully absorbed the god tree into his being and activated the infinite Tsukuyomi. A blinding, absolute white light washed over every corner of the planet. In the hidden rain village, Naruto, Sasuke, Madara, and Obito took their positions at the 4 cardinal points. Together, they manifested the 4 pillars god formation, this supreme tier barrier, which could only be maintained by 4 warriors of 6 paths caliber, held firm. The lethal rays of the infinite Tsukuyomi were halted at the threshold of the village. Outside that barrier, the rest of the world fell into an eternal slumber. Black Zetsu, seeing his millennium-long plan nearing fruition, crept behind Indra to deliver the ultimate betrayal and resurrect Kaguya. But the unexpected happened. Indra spun around with godlike reflexes, catching Zetsu's arm mid-air. The 1,000-year conspiracy was snuffed out in a heartbeat as Indra crushed Black Zetsu and sealed him away forever within a Chibaku Tensei. Indra turned his gaze toward the hidden rain. The last bastions of resistance were concentrated in that one tiny village. He blurred toward them at the speed of thought. Hinata, utilizing her Tensigan, tracked his trajectory and alerted Naruto. Naruto hadn't anticipated that a schemer as cunning as Zetsu would be disposed of so easily. Now, there was no more shadow play. They had to face the god of the Uchiha head-on. The sky cracked with thunder as Indra, now fueled by the god tree, descended onto the battlefield. His presence alone sent tremors of fear through the allied shinobi. But suddenly, a massive sonic boom erupted, and Indra was sent hurtling backward. It was a strike from Madara's limbo. With his new eyes, Madara's invisible shadows had increased from 4 to 8. Indra attempted to use his life-draining flow of wood flowers on Madara again. Madara's body aged instantly, only to snap back to its youthful prime a second later. One of his limbo shadows vanished in the process. This was the new power of Madara's Tomoe Rinnegan. dragon. Whenever the user suffers a fatal blow, a limbo clone sacrifices its existence in their place, granting the original body 1 minute of absolute immortality. Realizing this, Indra shifted his focus toward hunting down the remaining shadows. But Madara was a master of the battlefield. He used his immortal window to swap places with his attacking clones with perfect timing. Indra's counter-strike hit nothing but air, and he took a direct hit from Madara's majestic destroyer flame right to the face. Taking the offensive, Madara's 7 remaining limbo clones began a relentless cycle of attacks. Madara then revealed a secret tactical maneuver. He transferred the 4 Edo Hokage into his limbo dimension. In that space, they were not only protected from Indra's soul-erasing powers, but they were also freed from the constraints of gravity, allowing them to strike from angles that defied the laws of physics. Minato was fully locked into this new theater of war. He blurred through the battlefield, slamming a Rasengan directly into Indra's blind spot. Indra spun with godlike reflexes, retaliating with his truth-seeking orbs. Tobirama, the second Hokage, sensed the lethal danger a microsecond too late. While Minato managed to warp Hiruzen to safety, he realized with horror that he was too far to reach Tobirama. In a twist that defied history, Madara instantly swapped Tobirama with one of his limbo clones. The shadow took the terminal hit and vanished. Tobirama stood frozen, a look of utter bewilderment on his face. That man, he saved my life? Witnessing his younger brother's near-death experience, Hashirama's legendary patience finally snapped. He unleashed the veritable 1,000-armed Conan. From within the protection of the limbo dimension, the Buddha's thousands of fists rained down upon Indra. Indra shifted his truth-seeking orbs into an absolute defensive shell, but Hashirama's strikes were so catastrophic that cracks began to spiderweb across the black sphere. Seeing the opening, Madara entered the limbo space himself and called down a planetary devastation. The massive rock, invisible to Indra's perception, crushed down from the heavens. The synchronized brutality of Madara and Hashirama drove Indra deep into a massive crater. As the limbo dimension faded, they transitioned back to the physical world, where the ultimate showdown between Might Guy and the god of the Uchiha was about to ignite. Naruto was now inches away from defeating Indra and fulfilling his vow. As Madara and the Hokage fell back to provide space, Guy, shrouded in a mist of blood-red steam, descended upon Indra. Indra's eyes flared with a predatory spark. Finally, a challenge worth my time. Guy launched the first step of the evening elephant, but Indra flickered away before the vacuum could pin him. Guy adjusted mid-air, delivering 3 consecutive air pressure punches. By the third strike, he had Indra dead in his sights. Yet, even amidst the world-shattering pressure, Indra stood as if he were facing a light breeze. Guy was shaken. How can a man possess this much power? He dropped into his final stance, preparing the ultimate technique. Night Guy. With a roar that shook the foundations of the earth, Guy's chakra manifested as a gargantuan blood-red dragon. Every warrior on the field felt their soul tremble at the sight. Guy gathered every remaining spark of his life force and lunged. The atmospheric pressure was so absolute that Indra found himself physically paralyzed, unable to move even an inch. Indra extended his fist at the last possible moment, but then his own bones began to warp and bend unnaturally. Indra gasped in shock. He's twisting the very fabric of space. The kick of the Night Guy connected squarely with Indra's chest. The dragon tore through the battlefield, dragging Indra for over a kilometer before erupting in a gargantuan explosion of light and heat. Guy's right leg began to crumble into ash as his life force flickered. Naruto materialized instantly, stabilizing Guy's vitals and moving him to safety. "Leave the rest to us," Naruto said, his voice steady. Indra's mangled body began to reform through his 6 paths regeneration, but his chakra levels were visibly depleted. Now, the fated trio, Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata, stepped onto the front lines together. Konohamaru watched their retreating backs, his heart filled with a storm of complex emotions, but he quickly centered himself, weaving his hand signs for a summoning jutsu to begin the massive task of treating the wounded. Indra locked his sights on Sasuke and unleashed his lethal life-draining art, the flow of wood flowers. Sasuke's vitality began to evaporate instantly, his body withering under the weight of accelerated aging. Because Indra was standing far beyond the physical range of Sasuke's visual prowess, his heavenly reverse was unable to reach the Uchiha ancestor to return the damage. Without a second's hesitation, Naruto barked a command at Sasuke to target him instead. Naruto knew that with his Uzumaki life force and 6 paths reserves, he was the only one who could anchor this burden. In a flash of distortion, every ounce of Sasuke's trauma and physical decay was transferred to Naruto. Naruto aged decades, gods in a heartbeat, his hair silvering as he felt the true, bone-chilling horror of Indra's divine technique. Witnessing Naruto's sacrifice, Hinata's rage boiled over. She activated the Golden Wheel Rebirth Blast, the pillar of golden light cleaving through the atmosphere. Indra thrust his six-path staff forward to intercept the beam, but the legendary weapon snapped like a brittle twig against the Tenseigan's power. Indra twisted his body at terminal velocity to evade, but he wasn't fast enough. The blast tore through his shoulder, severing his right arm completely. Immediately after unleashing the massive jutsu, Hinata was hit by a wave of intense vertigo and began to collapse. Despite his weakened state, Naruto moved with blurring speed, catching her before she hit the ground. He carefully handed her over to Conan to be taken to the medical unit. It wasn't just battle fatigue that had drained her. Hinata was carrying a new life. She was 1 month pregnant. Back on the battlefield, the tide shifts. Naruto consumes a singular divine fruit provided by Obito, instantaneously restoring his withered life force to its absolute peak. Across the crater, Indra's severed arm regenerates with grotesque speed. He thrusts his hand toward the sky, and thousands of swords forged from the black flames of Amaterasu erupt from beneath Naruto's feet, shredding the earth. Naruto flickers away using the flying Raijin, narrowly escaping the obsidian cage. Channeling the scorching chakra of the Four Tails, he manifests a colossal lava-style Super Rasen Shuriken. Using his left Rinnegan, he generates hundreds of copies and launches a saturated carpet-bombing run on Indra. Anticipating the mimicry, Indra manifests 3 concentric layers of truth-seeking orbs into an absolute shield. The impact of 100 lava Rasen Shurikens ignites the atmosphere, turning the very clouds a hellish crimson. Seizing the chaos, Sasuke manifests his ultimate perfect Susanoo and strikes through the smoke with great dark thunder. The bolt of black lightning pierces the truth-seeking shield like a needle through silk, impaling Indra's chest. Enduring the agonizing shock, Indra triggers the Amaterasu body flicker. His physical form dissolves into black embers and reappears a distance away. Naruto gives him no room to breathe, launching a super-tailed beast Rasen Shuriken. The relentless kinetic pressure begins to tear at Indra's stability. The Ten Tails chakra within him starts to bleed out, reacting violently to Naruto's sage-infused strikes. Meanwhile, Naruto's allies have successfully liberated Black Zetsu from his seal. Naruto's ultimate gamble is now in play, to bring back Kaguya Otsutsuki as an ally to face the true coming gods, Shibai Otsutsuki. Indra, facing the combined might of Naruto and his 3 elite comrades, is finally gasping for air, his divine ego shattered. Naruto plays his final trump card. He copies and rains down hundreds of Asura Chakra orbs upon the weakened ancestor. Miles away, Black Zetsu watches the slaughter and cackles like a lunatic. The moment is here! Indra's strength is spent. Suddenly, a viscous black fluid erupts from Indra's shoulders. The chakra of the entire world begins to forcibly funnel into his body. Near the brink of death, Indra lets out a final world-shaking roar. Naruto's eyes flare with recognition. Kaguya is here! Indra's form is completely consumed, and the rabbit goddess, Kaguya Otsutsuki, is successfully resurrected. Standing face to face in this new timeline, Naruto realizes with a chill that this Kaguya radiates a pressure far greater than the one he fought in his previous life. Naruto steps forward, attempting to plant a seed of doubt in her mind through negotiation. He speaks of the one thing she truly fears, the Otsutsuki Gods who decimated his future. Kaguya stares at Naruto, sensing a chakra signature so massive it rivals her own sons, Hagoromo and Hamura. His words carry weight, but Kaguya's heart was hardened eons ago. She has long since decided that trust is a weakness she can no longer afford. Negotiation fails to reach a peaceful end. Kaguya triggers Amenominaka, instantly shifting the entire battlefield into the lava dimension. Standing amidst the heat are Sasuke, Obito, and Madara. Among them, only Madara remains the wild card, the only one who has yet to witness Naruto's harrowing memories of the future. Madara stood in stunned silence, his Rinnegan twitching as the world around them dissolved. Did she just summon an entire dimension? He demanded. Amidst the shifting reality, Sasuke was the only one plummeting toward the molten lake below. Reacting with the instincts of a lifetime of war, Naruto manifested a truth-seeking orb platform to catch him, a perfect echo of their previous life struggle. Black Zetsu immediately began whispering venom into Kaguya's ear, identifying Sasuke as the primary threat to her reign. Kaguya's long, flowing hair surged, hardening into thousands of lethal needles before she launched her 80 Gods vacuum attack. A tidal wave of chakra fists flooded the air, each strike carrying a vacuum pressure far exceeding Might Guy's evening elephant. But Naruto's taijutsu had evolved beyond godhood. He met the onslaught head-on with his thunder god fists. In their previous life, a clash like this in the lava dimension had sent Naruto spiraling into defeat. This time, the tides had turned. Naruto's raw power forced Kaguya's divine strikes to recoil. Naruto exhaled, smiled, but the victory felt hollow. He realized Kaguya was merely testing the waters, while he was already forced to exert significant effort. Suddenly, Kaguya launched her most terrifying weapon, the all-killing ash bones. Naruto's eyes went wide. "Get back!" he roared to the others. "If those bones even graze you, your entire body will turn to ash!" The team scrambled to evade the projectiles, but it became clear that Sasuke was the true target. Thousands of ash bones boxed him in, sealing every possible escape route. At the terminal second, Madara triggered a swap, taking the hit for Sasuke. The lethal bone pierced Madara's chest, but one of his limbo clones instantly sacrificed its existence, vanishing as the death was erased from Madara's original body. Madara retaliated with a crushing limbo strike that sent Kaguya hurtling backward, but as she fell towards Sasuke, she opened a dimensional portal. An ash bone emerged from the void at point-blank range, skewering Sasuke through the torso. In a horrifying instant, Sasuke's body began to crumble into gray dust. Driven by a primal protective rage, Naruto lunged forward, his strike blasting Kaguya across the dimension. He turned to Obito, screaming for him to activate the time reversal technique. Time buckled and rewound. Sasuke stood whole once more, though the phantom sensation of his own death remained etched into his mind. Naruto's heart raced. In the previous timeline, the Ash Bones was a taxing high chakra move for Kaguya, but now she was wielding it with effortless frequency. Realizing their tactical advantage, Zetsu advised Kaguya to eliminate Obito first. She attempted another portal strike, but Obito had already shifted into his intangible state, the bones passing harmlessly through his soul. Frustrated, Zetsu suggested a change of scenery, the Acid Sea dimension. Sensing the shift in the fabric of space, Naruto ordered everyone to manifest their Susanoo immediately. While the ethereal armor could resist the acid for a short window, prolonged exposure meant certain death. Without wasting a breath, Naruto commanded Obito to pull the entire team into the safety of the Kamui dimension. They were safe for the moment, encased in the void of the Kamui world. But the dilemma remained. To return to the real world, they would have to navigate back through a sea of absolute erosion. Kaguya retreated into her star prison dimension, seeking a moment of respite. Black Zetsu, ever the opportunist, advised her to utilize this lull to awaken her Tenseigan. Their target was already set. Toneri, still stationed on the moon, whose Otsutsuki chakra was the final key. Meanwhile, trapped in the void, Naruto and his 3 Uchiha allies scrambled to devise an escape. Obito pushed his Kamui to its absolute limit, scanning the dimensional fabric until he finally locked onto the frequency of Kaguya's hidden realm. However, Obito lacked the raw chakra to anchor a bridge for the entire team. They were stranded unless someone from the outside world could initiate a summoning. In the hidden rain, Conan and the remaining shinobi could feel the atmospheric pressure of Kaguya's chakra, but the absence of Naruto's signature was deafening. Realizing their leader was trapped in a dimensional pocket, Conan acted instantly, performing a high-level reverse summoning jutsu. Naruto exhaled in pure relief as he materialized back in the village, immediately summoning Sasuke, Madara, and Obito to his side. The relief was short-lived. High above on the lunar surface, Kaguya had successfully drained Toneri's essence. Her eyes flared with a haunting blue radiance. The Tenseigan was active. Naruto's blood began to boil. He knew the second half of this apocalyptic war was going to be a nightmare beyond anything he had faced before. The battle reached its fever pitch. Utilizing the Tenseigan's planetary scale power, Kaguya began pulling meteors directly from the moon's orbit, raining them down upon the earth. Naruto and his team were forced to expend massive reserves just to vaporize the falling mountains. Seeing an opening, Obito triggered his time-warping jutsu, targeting the exact coordinates where Kaguya had stood moments before. Time buckled, rewinding 10 minutes, and Kaguya was forcibly yanked from the moon back to the Earth's surface. The 4 warriors instantly boxed her in. Reacting with godlike speed, Kaguya shifted the battlefield to the ultra-gravity dimension. The crushing atmospheric pressure was so intense that even a 6-paths user found it nearly impossible to draw a breath, let alone move. Kaguya leveraged the Tenseigan's attraction force, a power that made the universal pull look like a mere breeze. Naruto was yanked toward her, completely unable to resist the gravitational vacuum. Seeing him helpless, Kaguya launched her all-killing ash bones directly at his face. Naruto was a dead man. At the terminal second, Madara intervened. He positioned a limbo clone directly in the trajectory, the shadow disintegrating as it absorbed the lethal strike meant for Naruto. Even Kaguya was feeling the strain of the high-gravity realm. Seeing this, Madara unleashed his zero-gravity limbo world, pulling the 3 of them into a pocket dimension where the laws of physics were suspended. This gravity-free haven could only be maintained for 5 minutes. They had exactly 300 seconds to force Kaguya out of her comfort zone. Naruto spearheaded the assault, his physical impact sending Kaguya Kaguya reeling. Sasuke, Madara, and Obito followed up with a synchronized barrage of high-level ninjutsu. Kaguya's Tenseigin could see every movement, but her body, shackled by the crushing gravity of her own dimension, couldn't move fast enough to parry every blow. Yet the damage wasn't enough to make her flee. Sasuke barked out a plan. He and Naruto aligned their hands, forming the ritual mudra for the Six Paths Sealing Jutsu. Using his teleportation ability, Sasuke swapped Kaguya's position, placing her directly between him and Naruto. Sensing the impending seal, Kaguya shrieked and shifted everyone into the ice dimension. Simultaneously, Madara's 5-minute zero-gravity window slammed shut. The danger was far from over. As they materialized in the frozen wasteland, Kaguya's ash bones tore through massive glaciers, surging like obsidian needles directly toward the foreheads of Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto acted with godlike synchronization, activating both Rinnegan eyes simultaneously. Using Omanushi, he literally erased the incoming obsidian bones from existence before they could touch a single atom of his skin. On the flank, Sasuke unleashed a concentrated fire style to flash melt the surrounding glaciers, allowing them to break free from the frozen trap. But there was no time for a breath. Kaguya shrieked, her form distorting into the colossal, unstable rabbit monster transformation. The ash bones were no longer a rain, they were a cataclysm. The projectiles saturated the air like a lethal blizzard. Seeing the terror on Madara and Sasuke's faces, Naruto yanked them toward his center, maintaining a continuous Omanushi field above them, deleting every bone that entered their airspace. The bone storm raged for 10 agonizing minutes before Kaguya shifted the battlefield back to her core dimension. Suddenly, a torrent of blue chakra began funneling into her palms from the atmosphere. Naruto's heart sank. She was siphoning the collective chakra of every living soul trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi. He realized with horror that she was preparing the expansive truth-seeking ball, a weapon capable of resetting the entire world. They had seconds to act. Kaguya emerged from behind the swelling obsidian sphere. Naruto and his 3 Uchiha comrades launched their ultimate coordinated gambit. Obito blurred through a portal, appearing directly behind the goddess and unleashing a Kamui Raikiri. Space buckled as a massive section of Kaguya's back was warped into the void, yet her core body remained anchored in the air. Seizing the opening, Naruto flickered like yellow lightning via flying Raijin, slamming his palm into Kaguya to activate dark absorption. Her divine chakra began to flood into Naruto, but Kaguya's reflexes were too fast. She lunged forward, her hands crushing Naruto's throat. The tide turned instantly. Naruto's own massive reserves began to drain into her. He tried to teleport away, but the spatial lock was absolute. As the 2 titans struggled, their spirits were suddenly pulled into a transcendent mental plane, a magnificent star-filled galaxy. Standing face to face amidst the stars, Kaguya was visibly shaken. She had never experienced a spiritual resonance this deep. Naruto spoke, his voice echoing through the void. Meeting here is proof. We aren't just enemies destined to kill. Our hearts have found a connection deep within her soul. Kaguya recognized that this boy was unlike any being she had encountered in eons. Yet, the scars of ancient betrayals made her recoil from the thought of trust. That was when Naruto unleashed his ultimate weapon, the Talk no Jutsu. He whispered the name of the entity that haunted her nightmares. Shibai Otsutsuki. Kaguya's eyes widened in pure shock. Naruto poured his memories into the void, the destruction of his future, the loss of his friends, and the sheer desperation that drove him back in time. I have done all of this, he declared, just to defeat the monsters you are running from. Naruto's raw sincerity cracked the ice around her heart. Then, the spirit of Kushina emerged from within Naruto. The shared frequency between 2 mothers finally caused Kaguya's resolve to melt. The combined warmth of Kushina and Naruto's words achieved the impossible. Kaguya was moved. Outside, the world-ending, expansive, truth-seeking ball began to dissolve into harmless mist. Sasuke offered a rare, genuine smile. He actually did it. Naruto succeeded. The coldness in Kaguya's eyes was replaced by a flickering spark of hope. She decided to place her faith in Naruto one last time. She deactivated her dimensional shifting, and the group materialized back in the real world. Black Zetsu, watching from the shadows, saw the look on his mother's face and knew the goddess had made her final choice. The support on part 1 and 2 was actually insane. You guys are the reason I kept pushing, but let's be real, this isn't the end. It's just the end of a chapter. The real war? It hasn't even started yet. Naruto won today, but making this video almost broke me. There were nights I wanted to quit. I went through some dark times. Depression is real, guys, and I literally worked until my laptop gave out. But I didn't stop because this isn't just a video. It's my soul, my grind, and my dream for you all. If this story hit you differently, drop a like. It's my only fuel. Share it, hype it up in the comments, and let's make this go viral. The next chapter, it's going to be legendary.